Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There will be strong language and adult themes.
Oh, she said the autoplay. Interesting.
Oh yeah, the autoplay feature is wicked cool. Well, for the intros, it is. For the outro stuff, it's still a little wonky. It kicks everybody out, and then they have to be manually re-added after the outro plays, so you can say goodbye.
Oh,
It's wild.
We don't have an outro set. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that.
Are we live? Are we live?
Yes, we are live.
We
Yeah,
are
oh.
indeed.
Hi.
I was expecting more intro too.
Hi, Chad. How are you? I'm
Hello.
sorry, but I'm sad to report that Purple was arrested last night. Okay, and
I mean, we've been
we know-
expecting that for a long time.
well, we were, and we knew it was just a minor drug charge, but nonetheless, they felt the need to, instead of just ticket her, to bring her in. Did the whole, 9 yards of getting her showered and inspected in all the wrong places for prison cell, and she's been in there for like almost 24 hours now. Well, no, I'm sorry, about 18 hours now, and she's waiting for her lawyer. I don't know who she fucking hired, but I know that she called him last night, and why the guy hasn't shown up yet, I don't know. Maybe he's a drunk. She said something about his not being able to handle a bottle, but I thought maybe he was meant a baby bottle at a kid, and was too lazy to feed the kid and only depended on his wife for that kind of stuff. What did you hear, Ember?
What if he got arrested also? Like on the way to the jail to meet with her, he got pulled over and busted for drunk driving. What happens when the lawyer you called with your one phone call himself gets arrested? Are you just screwed?
Well, you only get one call, so yeah, I guess you are.
Yeah.
Sorry, rest of your life you're in prison. You wasted your call.
So now that we're done bullshitting, we have Greg Hartwick and Ivy Chan in the chat.
Hi, kids.
Hello.
Let's see here. Today we have National Fossil Day, right?
Yes, fossils and pronouns. It's
and
also,
pronouns, yes.
Yeah.
So now it's my birthday again?
Because of fossils?
Yeah.
And there's also something about bras today, too.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Or bronze?
Bras, because if we're doing fossils, we may run into boulders, and you got to hold them with something.
It's true. These things are getting a little inconvenient. I may need to do something pretty soon.
Apparently the bra thing has to do with some kind of breast cancer campaign. So.
Huh.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Let's see what we can find out.
It's also Learn a New Word Day, and we're going to present you the new word later on in the show. But I want you to get your pencils and papers ready, because it's going to be a test.
Okay, it's the
they
initialism.
have calendars for that?
For learning new words? Yeah, there's word of the day calendars.
Sure, yeah.
Bra Day, it's the initialism, so it's BRA, Breast Reconstruction Awareness Day. So it has to do with cancer survivors.
Ah, okay.
Interesting. So there's different ways recommended for how to observe Bra Day USA. You can support someone you love who's facing a decision after a mastectomy, because some people want plastic surgery reconstruction, some people just want prosthetics, some people don't do anything, and some people are just not having a good time with it. So there's offer support and listen. Help them formulate their questions for their doctor. And what's best for one person may not be the best option for another. And, talk about this kind of stuff on social media. Let's normalize talking about breasts on social media. I am 100,000% in favor. Yes.
And if you are going to be supporting somebody, just make sure you don't go use the underwire thing. I hear those get kind of pokey.
They can. They're properly made. They have enough bend at the end of the wire to not poke in directly. But what they wear through, man, and that fucker shifts. it can feel like a goddamn knife in the side.
My grandmother hated the fucking thing. She was like, I want the old bone ones back.
Oh, I didn't know they used bone. That would make sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So that was a lot more comfortable.
I challenged her on that. I said, what the fuck kind of bone could fit in a bra where you need it to? And apparently there's several bones on chickens that do the trick. I've never made my own bra, so I don't know.
Is it their ribs?
I believe so.
I'd imagine it would be.
You'd think a twig would be better than chicken bone.
Right? Just wander through the woods for a minute. But I mean, if you have to like carve up the chicken anyway because you live on a farm and you need something to serve for dinner, why not reuse the bones? They're right there.
I know in corset manufacture they used to use whalebone. Of course, that was plentiful back in the old days because they kept killing whales. But since we stopped that, you can only get those in Japan now.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard lots of old school crafters. In fact, I know a crafty lady who runs a like sewing and other dressmaking type stuff in a building that used to be a corset factory.
Oh,
yeah, but I know she does make bone corsets, but I don't think she uses whalebone. I'm not sure what she does use though.
there's a whole industry that has cropped back up. God, at least for 10, 15, 20 years maybe. Where there's apparently a fair number of women who want corsets, who wear corsets, and they're building them to, look very retro, but they're using modern materials, of course, and modern bones.
Okay.
Just 3D print an old whalebone.
There you go. 3D printing solves everything. Apparently, they use plastic, synthetic whalebone, and steel.
Yeah. Steel is what I see being used most, that at least in the companies that I've read their websites and stuff like that. I could see Ember buying a corset anytime now.
Weird that you mentioned that. I should have one. So early on, I was going to go to a Comic-Con. I put together this whole outfit. It had no pockets, but I found this thing, this like steampunk looking belt that had 2 pouches attached to the belt. So I'm like, cool, pockets. Bonus, because they're on the sides, it'll like augment my hips. But it didn't fit. I got the largest size available, but it's made for like tiny humans apparently, and it just did not fit. So I just set it aside. Eventually, because I'm who I am, I ended up taking the back of it was like it was only 4 grommets, but it was like corset ties. So I pulled the string out to reuse for something else. I lost the stupid string. So Comic-Con this last weekend, I have shrunk a lot since then. So I decided to try it again. On the plus side, it does fit. So, hooray. I could wear my thing and have my pockets, and it was great. The downside, I couldn't find the damn corset string because I reused it. So, I detached that part of it and just went with the belt and pockets part. It was fine. But I wanted to see if I could get the corset part working again, so I got a big, long 63-inch shoelace and re-threaded it, and it's fine. It fits now. Hooray. But then I'm like, I wonder if I could get away with like an actual corset. So I found a discounted one on Amazon, and it should be arriving today.
Okay.
I knew I felt
long
something.
story, but Jenny's a prophet.
I expect a pay raise.
No profits for
I
profits.
wonder if corsets raise your blood pressure.
Well, they
Because
certainly can
you're
push. They can certainly
Forcing,
push everything around. Yeah.
yeah, that's why I was wondering. They're forcing your organs in places they normally don't go.
Well, it is one of the recommendations I know for wearing them is to not put them too tight, at least not initially. so that you can adapt to the limited breath that you can take, which can, give you a little bit of hypoxia, and you could, have a problem with fainting and stuff.
Yeah, you end up falling off castle towers and getting rescued by pirates.
Ah,
It's wild.
Just as long as which of the knights of the Round Table went to Swamp Castle and Monty Python and the Holy Grail? As long as you're not being rescued by that guy.
I don't remember that scene.
Yeah, I don't recall either.
He kills everybody, and I'll have to look that up.
It's been a minute. We'll have to watch that movie over again in the Discord or in the Gather or something,
Yes.
because it's been a
Yeah,
little while.
we can do that movie sometime.
Yeah.
I'm going to be transferring jobs, so I might be able to join you more frequently.
Oh,
Hooray!
that'd be cool.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be doing the shows on here more than on the Discord, because the sound quality on Discord sucks.
It very often can, and we chase Jenny away again. Well, while that's happening, there's Jenny. What? Tell us about your new job. Is it similar to your previous job?
Well, right now I'm doing yard jockey. I hate it, and
Fair.
I'm probably going to be going out on the road again, and I like
road
that
again.
better.
Hell yeah.
And hopefully they'll transfer me to Virginia. And hopefully Kamala will win so that I don't have to leave the country permanently.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning in the same direction. I need to get my passport, and I've been sloppy about it because there's so much else going on.
Just have your holy hand
I
grenade.
already have tickets to the UK, and here's the countries that I have legal right to return to. Obviously, Israel, that's a fucking war zone right now. I have Italy and then Poland because grandparents left Europe after almost being murdered by Hitler. So Polish Jew, Italian Jew got together in America. So those are the 3 countries I have legal right to return to.
I don't have legal right to go anywhere, but I will crash the border of Canada if I have to.
You can be an illegal
From what
alien.
I understand, you could go to the Netherlands.
I don't have a passport,
Oh,
so they won't even let me out of the country.
Yeah, that's the whole
the
thing.
first
No escape.
without a passport.
Let's see here. Quick look up. It looks like Italy might be your best bet.
Who's best bet?
Well, I mean, once I got the residency in Italy, I could live anywhere in the EU.
That's true. Movement is like one of the pillars.
Yeah, there's a lot of anti-immigrant stuff going on in the EU right now. Wouldn't you be considered an immigrant?
I please understand that I am not in any way racist, but I am the color that wouldn't piss them off too much. And since family ancestry was from that area, probably wouldn't piss them off too much. But you know what? Fuck them. Just fuck them.
It's sad that it comes down to that.
And
many people?
then there's another country that I could probably. I'm sorry, I have a delay. Finish what you're going to say.
No, go ahead.
And then there's another country that's another fucking war zone that I could probably go to. But it's a war zone. And hopefully Putin will be kicked out of there soon.
Well, come to mention Putin, apparently he's made an announcement that he's welcoming all Americans who want to get away from the wacko lefties here to come move to Russia because it's such a wonderful place. That'll work out good.
I'm in favor of this.
I am too.
Yeah. Well, see, on one hand, I am completely for the assholes here going over there so that they can be gang pressed into a suicidal meat wave. But again, that would just be more ammunition the Ukrainians would have to expend. But yeah, the people who would go to Russia, who would leave America to move to Russia, are absolutely worthless.
I saw a little blurb for a couple of days on Twitter that Steven Seagal, who we know was a traitor and left America years ago, has stated publicly that he's ready to die for Mother Russia on the front. Now I think that's bullshit.
Good.
Because I also thought I heard a number of months ago that he was leaving Russia because it was such a horrible thing to do, and it really sucks there. So I don't know what's going on.
You know what? They should have him drive a truck with a giant bullseye painted on it. In fact, he's such a useless waste of shit. They should just save everyone's time and just shove him in a hole.
Well, everybody who seemed to respond to that article that I read was saying, "Okay, cool, go ahead, Steve. Enjoy. Hope you have a great time." I
could just see him waddling to the front.
Yeah, he's gotten rather rotund. I saw some pictures that were allegedly fairly current. And
he claims to be the only civilian to disarm a nuclear bomb that was about to go off. What a ridiculous fuck.
What?
He claims to have saved the city from a nuclear bomb. He said he disarmed it and it was going to go off. I'm not kidding. He actually claims that with seriousness.
Was that a movie or?
No. He claims to have actually done it in real life.
In his real life.
There's
in
a
his
purple.
imagination.
You are going to be docked 1/2 hour in pay. This lateness has got to stop.
I swear my 1:30 alarm went off on my phone to remind me, and I was reaching for my headset, and that's the last thing I remember. So it's like I was trying to get ready and I fell asleep in my chair.
Well, we decided that you were actually had that person that you met at the convention with you, and you guys were cosplaying in bed.
Oh, I wish.
No, I said that was too optimistic for this year. The other option was he fell down the stairs and died, which sounded more realistic for this year.
Well, no, but I live on the first floor and I don't have any reason to do the stairs anymore.
Well, if you land just right, you can break your neck yet.
I fell down so many fucking stairs when I was dying of COVID, and I never managed to succeed at breaking my neck. It's not as easy as you might think.
Yeah, over the 40 years that I was doing home repair stuff, I fell off about a dozen roofs.
Let's see. We have Steven Gull said ready to die for Russia, October 11th, 2022. Star. This is in Newsweek. Star 72. Who was said to have made his support for Putin clear in the letter, quoting what he had written. Seagal reportedly said, "And I will be on the side of my president. I will fight on the side of my president, and if necessary, I will die with my president."
Oh, that sounds like what I saw was a recycled thing that didn't have a date on it. Because I always check for date. Well, damn, then it's a hoax.
Well, you look at no, it is real. And you look at Steven Seagal's movies and you realize how fucking ridiculous they are.
I try
There's
not
an
to look at
entire
his
YouTube
movies.
channel that's hilarious. They take every one of his movies and explain how fucking ridiculous they are. Like he goes to Romania to celebrate the murder of his kid's mother by going back to the scene of the crime. Why the fuck would you, on the anniversary, just go back to the scene of the crime with the kids to relive it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, has trouble letting go. That is bizarre. How come we never hear anything from that computer guy, that Ed, whatever his name was? I personally think he was that hacker that spilled a whole bunch of sensitive shit and blew the country off immediately after, and went to Russia.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think he's behind all the
WikiLeaks
Russian.
guy?
I think he's behind all the Russian hacking.
Snowden.
Yeah, that's it.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes.
Who did you meet at Tim Hortons? Steven Seagal or Putin? No, Putin wouldn't go to Tim Hortons. He'd go to McDonald's.
I might have to get myself a burger. I haven't had a burger in a while, and my appetite's returning.
Yay.
Dom de dom dom, sumami.
I'm just doing that
speaking
normal thing for happening.
And speaking of Putin, Saturday going to be doing a special where we're going to go over Robin Bollocks, how fucking ridiculous he is, and expose him for the Putin-loving traitor that he is.
A traitor to what?
Well, there's multiple occasions where he's been lying for Russia, spreading Russian propaganda, the eschatology of his Seven Mountains Dominionism actually owes its existence not to what's in the New Testament, well, fuck the Bible, but it owes its. The Bible says the exact opposite of what he says. He's a Trump prophet, which means that which comes out of his mouth is a filthy lie. He's ridiculous as fuck. And he's just an easy target.
So far, everything you said about lying, he's always done. From the moment the KGB folded up, he's just a horrible person. He's a horrible person, like Trump's a horrible person. If Trump had his dictatorial powers, he would be ending the lives of numerous people. I have no doubt he would be happy to kill some folks.
Yeah.
Oh, Robin Bollocks, he's buying up a lot of land in Warrior, Alabama, and he's basically trying to build a training camp for the armies of the lords. So he's gonna turn Warrior, Alabama into the next fucking Jonestown. He's a sick fuck. We're also gonna go over that if we have time.
Who's doing that?
Robin Bollocks, he's Robin Bullock, the guy who looks like a biker who pretends to be a preacher and prophesies lies for Putin and Trump.
Yeah,
And
he looks like the punk rocker guy.
I am not
he
familiar with
looks
that
like
at all.
we used to be told. He looks like we used to be told the devil dressed in the 1980s and 90s in cartoons.
Yeah.
I'm not saying punk rocker looks aren't okay, but if you're gonna just be a lying sack of shit while trying to look cool, fuck you. And it's the lying sack of shit part that I have a problem with, not the way he dresses.
Well, I always have wanted to contact Satan's tailor, and very snappy outfits.
Robin Bollocks would actually know Satan's tailor, I'm pretty sure. But Satan doesn't exist, so.
My tailor is Swift.
She's a great
That's fair.
entertainer,
So
and I
you
like
get your
the way she
dresses real
plays.
fast.
That was nice. I didn't hear either of you.
You said your tailor is swift. I just said so you get your dresses real fast.
Yeah, and they're all glittery, and they hug my crotch. It just like hurts. Oh God, some of the things she wears on stage, it's like, holy fuck! Why do you want to look like that? I think a lot of her stuff is way gaudy. I would never wear it if I was in that situation. But then there's also some things she wears that are absolutely to die for.
It's showbiz. It's about being a little over the top.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. You're right. So many of the women singers who are, heavy duty pop artists, it seems that their purpose in life is to wear as little clothes as possible and to spread their legs as far as they can on stage. And that's fine. If that's what they want to do, that's okay. I'm from a different generation. We don't do that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, it's all about getting attention. That's really what the business is. So
I don't know what you mean.
Oh, see, that's one of the better ones.
Hey, she's got the figure for it.
yeah.
You got it, flaunt it, huh?
Actually, she's got a very poor waist to hip ratio.
Mm.
But she is
Relatable.
she is 35, so high ratio years are over, I think.
Honestly, I was barely aware of her until she said the thing about getting all of her fans to register to vote.
Well, but you hardly know what day it is. It's
Well,
contemporary
no.
events is not your thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't pay any attention to celebrities, that's for sure.
You should pay attention to celebrities. They're probably going to be your next president.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, if I'd watched more TV, I would have known a lot more about Trump. I just never watched that Apprentice show.
I think I saw maybe part of one episode.
I
Yeah, well, it's one of
refuse to
those
watch any.
things. Yeah, it's one of those things that a couple of times somebody else was watching it when I was in the room, and that was about it.
I would steal the remote and not let them watch that in my house. Donald Trump, he went onto my hate list when he took out that full page ad against those 5 kids who were found innocent. And to this day, he says he was making the right decision. They're innocent. They're out of prison. One of them is a politician. What the fuck are you saying, dude?
Yeah. I'm just wondering why it is at this point that the voting polls are so close.
I think there's something wrong with the methodology. First of all, tell Al, hope you're doing good. Hope the doctor, helps get things moving for you. As for the polls, like I've said everywhere, I'll keep saying, if we look at reality, if we look at the people, the people who show up for the rallies, the fundraising, the money real people are sending in, not just watches being sold to Putin. We look at the volunteers, and on every metric, it's not even remotely close. They've got to be doing something wrong with the fucking polls.
I really hope that's the case.
And
I do think the polls are off somewhat, because they're not taking in the young people. The polls do not take in the people who have, not voted before. So, like anyone, it depends how many of these young people we've got who are newly registered to vote for the first time.
It also matters as to where all this is taking place too. It's really going to come down to just a handful of states.
Yeah, well, it is really. It's down to like 5 states.
But
And
see,
then-
that's
and then-
the surprise that's coming. There's people who are saying Florida is going to fall to the Democrats.
I don't know about that.
Well, yeah, I would not have given that much credit either, except for something I was watching just the other night that was talking about the downvote races for the Democrats and interviewing one of the candidates for representative for Congress.
I am kind of wondering how this hurricane is going to affect the voting in Florida.
Well, it depends if the people which spin they get on it about whether they believe the shit that Biden's responsible for it or not.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, just
You
being
know,
able to get out and vote is going to
But
be a
I-
lot harder.
Even DeSantis came out and said, "Stop the bullshit." That FEMA and Biden are doing an excellent job. Even
really?
Ron DeSantis, yeah.
That's
Okay.
surprising.
Yeah. But they were talking about the races for the senators and representatives, and even in a deeply red district, it was a virtual tie. So yeah, if it's really looking like that for for the congressional candidates, if people are going to get out and vote for them, and it looks like enough of them are voting for the Democrats, yeah, there may be a chance of Florida going back. And up until the Al Gore thing, Florida was considered a swing state.
I like the ads
it
that they're
was
running.
considered a
I like the ads that they are.
until Trump.
A little bit further back than that.
Okay, Jenny is trying to say something.
I like the ads that they're running against the local congressman across the river in the La Crosse district, Derek Van Orden. They started doing a set of commercials. The main one that says, well, this guy was at January 6th and he denied it, but now social media has produced all the photographs proving he was there, and he still denies it. And then they're doing this other one. They're doing this other one where he has quoted, and several different sources have brought this one out, where he has said to a particular constituent, "I don't care who the fuck you are, I'm a congressman." That's not going to cut it in Wisconsin. People here don't like those kind of big egos.
Yeah.
That was a stupid thing to say. So his opponent is a young woman. She looks like she's in her mid-30s, maybe. Rebecca Cook. She's done some work for the party, but she's not a politician. and she's, she grew up on a local farm and waitresses tables and things like that. Almost kind of a rural AOC type story.
Yeah, I am wondering, how much of what we're seeing in the polls goes back to the misogyny. Just how many people are still thinking that a woman can't do the job, so they can't vote for Harris?
Virtually every transphobia is misogyny, for those of you out in the chat who aren't aware of this kind of thing. And anything that they say transphobic is always oriented towards trans women. Okay.
Yep.
Nobody ever says anything about trans men. And it all comes down to the exact same things that they say in a misogynistic environment. Here, again, in the Wisconsin advertising, the TV station I get is in La Crosse, and so that's how I get all their advertisements. Out of any given hour, I would say 3 out of 5, maybe even 3 out of 4 ads are attacking trans people by way of saying, well, this candidate supports transgender prisoners getting surgery with your tax money, and oh, this politician wants men to be in the locker room with girls, and so they always use all the most inflammatory ways to put things, and all uneducated, uninformed, and completely misrepresenting the realities of life. It's all the bigotry and things that goes on in the community or against our community.
We're
and
getting
that hits home with people who are ignorant.
We're getting a bit of that up here in New York too. I was just noticing on my way home a sign that says "Protect Girls Sports. Vote No on Prop 1." Now I just did a quick Substack post on this because for anybody who isn't aware, New York Prop 1 is a ballot initiative that is, the entirety of it is to enshrine reproductive rights and protections against discrimination for ethnicity and sex and national origin and all that stuff in the Constitution. They're already protected under New York law. It's just putting those in the Constitution. And it doesn't say a damn thing about sports. So they lie outrageously at every fucking opportunity, even here in safely blue New York.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And with the frequency that they're hammering it, if the voters aren't already sick of it, and this is based on my time with TikTok and the people who come in there and hating us, this really resonates, and people are very happy to suck up the lies because it feeds into their hate so well.
Well, whenever they do the whole, you want these guys in locker rooms, I like to point out, so you want this person in the locker room with girls.
Well, see, but they never talk about that end of it.
Yeah. Well, that's a trans man.
Yes, it is, and they don't want to talk about that end of it because they know that they'll see that, and that'll blow their entire argument.
You want a person in the locker room of the gender that they were assigned at birth. Well, this person was assigned female at birth, so that means they'd be in the women's locker room.
That's right. We saw a bit of that with the All Red campaign in Texas, where the conservatives, because of their law requiring that you can only compete on the sports team that matches your birth certificate, they forced a trans man to wrestle on the women's team.
Yes.
And naturally, he won championships both years. And now they're trying to use that against the Democratic challenger to Ted Cruz, saying he wants men to wrestle in women's sports. Like, no, you put him there, you fuck nuggets.
Yep. Colin Allred is facing that bullshit.
Yeah, that's another interesting bit, is that even as deep red as Texas is, Ted Cruz and several other candidates who have been long established are actually having to fight for their seats.
I can't understand why. Well, it's in Florida, so I guess I should understand it. But that Rick Scott has any kind of pull in your state at all, Mage, it's just shocking to me. I mean, he's so obviously a criminal, having conveniently rerouted that $1.1 million into his own pockets from
Yeah, Dick Scott there.
Doesn't his head look like a scrotum?
Yes.
well, his nickname is Skeletor.
I always thought of him as a scrotum-based lizard person.
Oh, and did everybody hear the great news out of yesterday, and also circulating today? Jimmy Carter made it to his 100, and he made it to early voting.
Oh yeah,
Congratulations
yeah.
on that.
yeah. They cast his ballot.
I would have gotten my ballot filled out right now, but I kind of had a hurricane to deal with.
It happens.
It's right here.
What was that? Somebody was showing their ballot. I forget which state. I think it might have been Florida, but I just don't remember. Maybe you can help on this. That it comes with a 50-page fucking book on instructions of how to fill it out because it's got so much shit in it.
I don't know anything about this.
Okay, then it's not Florida. I wonder. I can't remember who it was. I'm sorry. But it's just this horrible mess of propositions and things that are worded. Ohio. Might have been
I'll be
Ohio.
right back.
Because it's worded so loosely that some of these things would be very, very dangerous if they were passed. And they're going for state constitutional amendment type stuff, and
Yeah,
and that the Republicans are really just bending the rules so far and just lying the fucking ass off for everything. It's just tragic that this kind of behavior is so acceptable. Go ahead.
I was selected to take a poll. And I think part of the polling averages too is that they're not real polls, because I could tell by the questions they were asking me that they were asking me questions to prejudice me towards the Democrat. They
Well, yeah.
literally told me something that was meant to prejudice me towards the Democrat. And they were incredibly bothered when I called Mike Molinaro a Putin-loving. There's an atheist here, so I'm not going to use the terms, but I did Cold War it up. And the guy taking the poll was absolutely worried. He was absolutely upset with what I called Molinaro.
yeah.
Just because you're an atheist doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Polls are always written that way, though, to manipulate the questions so that they fit whoever's asking it. When the political party is asking it for the poll, which direction the answer will be forced to go, just so that they can lie and cheat and steal some more.
Well, yeah,
and both parties
certain.
do it.
They want to be certain of the results before they start taking the poll. So
they hate it.
They're going to word it in a way that fits their bias.
They hate it when they run into somebody who's an intelligent voter and can recognize their bullshit from the first 5 words that they say, and then yell at them about what bullshit they're trying to pull, and then they usually hang up. At least that's been my experience.
Mm-hmm.
But the fun thing was, I knew virtually nothing about the Democrat running against him. All I knew was the horrible shit about Mike Molinaro. And Mike Molinaro and I had even had verbal altercations over Ukraine in person.
Oh, that would be fun. I would love to take on some of these Republicans in a public venue on the trans issue. I would excoriate them.
Oh, that would be great if you could, be asking them questions while they're on stage.
No, I would like to debate them one-on-one, give and take. You say something, I say something, kind of thing. That would be
You
just
know,
wonderful.
I would love to see that, and that would actually be something that if you pitched it to a local TV station, I could see them doing that of having an anti-trans candidate debating an actual trans woman.
Well, they would never do that. The opposition would never do that because they know it would happen. They know damn well that an educated trans person will just absolutely rip them to shreds because they know that what they're saying is lies.
Yeah, well, that's what
You
I mean.
mean
If you had a local station that was more liberal leaning, they might.
The station would be happy to do that. The opposition will not involve themselves.
Yeah.
It's like why isn't Trump willing to debate Kamala again? Because he's going to get his ass handed to him again.
Mm-hmm. He's scared.
they're eating dogs? If they can make that shit up about Haitians, they can make shit up about anyone. That's the hidden, scary, evil part.
Oh, those people
Is
from
that
Haiti.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
been
they're
hear-
gonna send the Haitians back to Venezuela because
Yeah,
So,
fuck, that's where Haitians come from.
So I haven't been able to confirm this, but I heard that got all started from a neo-Nazi group called Blood Tribe.
Blood Tribe is one of the neo-Nazis. It was also one of the original Nazi groups in Germany.
Yeah. I heard that was where the original claims came from. But all I could find on it was that they were just trying to take credit. So I don't know if that's true or not.
They didn't show up in town until after the story broke. So I don't know what they're really saying and what's truthful.
It's believable, but I wouldn't know one way or the other.
And as I understand it, some members of those groups have remained in that town and are supposedly causing trouble. The bomb threat period is over, but they can cause problems in other ways.
Ohio's such a fucking mess in so many ways, and I know that Ohio does have a number of those ballot initiatives going.
Did you hear Trump's latest gaffe in Arizona?
There's so many, it's so hard to keep track.
Yeah, I know.
Is this the one where he shits himself on, and you can hear it on the mic?
I don't know.
Really?
I don't remember if that was Arizona, but yeah, I did see that. And yes, he does let something go that you hear. There's no doubt. No, he referred to in one of his usual mindless stump speeches, referred to Arizonans as Azure Asians or something like that. And it just completely muffed the word. Couldn't pronounce Arizonans.
Oh, that one where the teleprompter crapped out.
That's what they say. He doesn't use a teleprompter. He says.
Yeah, those Azerasians, they're taking all the good jobs. We got to send them back to where they came from.
Oh, I love all the stories that are also showing up of Republicans telling Native indigenous folks to go back where they came from.
Yeah, I knew that was bound to be happening too.
And they're all, of course, all responding, no, you go back to where you came from. This is ours. And there's, of course, nowhere for them to go. It's bigots.
There was an interesting bit on the indigenous from Canada that there is a Lakota woman who had all her life claimed that she was the great-granddaughter of Chief Sitting Bull.
Okay.
And they were now able to do a DNA match because Chief Sitting Bull's headdress was in a museum. So they were able to sample some remnants of DNA from his scalp from the headdress and they matched it, and they confirmed that yes, what she has been saying all of her life is true, that she is a direct line descendant.
Well, that's cool.
Interesting.
That would really be incredible to know that you're that. That's just very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that she is related to, one of the most famous indigenous leaders.
Well, good. Then we should hand the Dakotas over to her. Dakota.
Yep.
She should be in charge of those.
Hey, I'm all for that.
Get rid of the dog killer.
And sandblast those nasty faces off of the mountain.
Well, I don't know if they could do that. That would.
Oh, and since we're talking about neat stuff, like the showcase is this thing that Greg posted in the DMs.
Oh, what was that? I've had my face in space.
Oh, I missed this.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
And there's Diana right there in middle row, third from.
Yeah. Okay, I wonder what that's from, that collection of pictures they're looking at.
This is my face in space. So you send these pictures in, and they have it on the space mission.
Oh, okay, so people can just submit pictures for it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
So Diana made it to space.
Yep. Or at least her picture did.
Yeah, she would have loved that.
So that was.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Put that screen up that you zipped past so quickly. People like to read stuff, you know.
Well, I was gonna read it here. Well, so a while ago, we sent the of Diana to the My Face in Space team to be displayed during the Polaris Dawn mission. I love the space program and love to have had and been a part of it. But this is the best I could manage. This is from Greg Hartwick. Thank you for doing this. Yes, I finally got the video. Took a picture during that mission. So that's what. So it's a really nice thing. She would have loved that, and she probably would have also been all self-deprecating about it.
Yeah.
I just got a notification flashed up on my screen. Reminds me, one of my most favorite people on Twitter. Her screen name was Barfbie, Barphbie, in the script of Barbie. She's just absolutely hilarious, and we've kind of become friends. She lives up in Stephanie's neighborhood, and she finally just couldn't take the assholes on Twitter anymore, and she left. Just poof, disappeared. She never made it public that she had an account on another social media thing that I'm not going to mention for her protection, but I ran across her on there, and I recontacted with her, and a notification just came up that she responded and that we're friends again. I missed her. She was gone for several days, and she would post 5, 10, 15, 20 times a day with just absolute side splitting stuff, and I missed her. She was very
that's good. I'm glad you were able to reconnect there.
Oh, and if you're wondering what was flashed after I shut it down, this is a video of a murderer getting caught. Daughter convicted of murdering her parents and keeping their bodies hidden in her house for 4 years.
Damn.
Oh man, I saw this.
Yeah, they just caught this like 4 days ago, according to the Independent.
I saw this case that I dropped my jaw, and I you know, I think I'm pretty tough sometimes. This woman, I forget how old she said was. I believe she was an adult or maybe a little young. Anyways, she killed her parents and was discovered cooking them.
Oh, yee.
Yeah.
Okay.
She lived in some town of like 200 people, somewhere down south, of course. And it, I mean, how gruesome, how fucking gruesome can that? I would I feel so bad for the cops that had to deal with that.
Yeah.
You know, go up back and find these dismembered bodies and then come in the house and find that. Ugh.
Oh, that killed the conversation.
Sorry, you know.
So fossils.
Yes,
What's your
dead
favorite
stuff.
bone, folks?
What's
Got a
his
bone
name?
to pick.
Oh, yeah, fair.
TikTok's a fun one.
God, look at that
Oh,
beautiful
yeah.
face. Look at that beautiful face Samami has.
Yeah.
It's true. Many of us are envious.
Mm-hmm. I tell you what, you take her face, I'll take the hair. Well, actually, maybe you'd want the hair, and I'll take the face.
I was gonna say, I need hair. This is why I have wigs. I need hair. I'm doing my best over here, but I mean, this is like a year and a half growth, and it's like not quite to my collar. Ah,
You and me may have a conversation soon about that. My hair is falling out rapidly from my
Ooh.
thyroid problems.
It's an oof.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm not
your
very happy
mommy.
about it. Especially that it finally, after goddamn fucking 10 years, it finally got to the length that I consider decent.
So, mommy, if there's, if you need somebody to talk to, we're always here.
I'd hug you and snuggle with you anyways, Tsunami. I'm with you in that. And
Yep.
would be happy to support you in any way you need.
Yeah, I'm Ivy Chan commenting, on you refining your friend. And that's something that I worry about too, because I've had a couple of people that, I've known on the internet and their accounts just went quiet and I never knew what happened. So, and that's at this point I've become the contact for a couple of people that when they go quiet, people, know that I've got a number to at least check on them, which I am willing to do for anyone who is willing to trust me with their number. Of course, I've got to find somebody who can do backup for me now, because, that was the thing with Sloth Girl that, we had a little notebook with all of our passwords in the lockbox so that if something happened, we could, let people know. Unfortunately, she had not kept that up, and some of the passwords she had in there no longer worked for me, but her son and I figured most of them out.
Well, that's neat. Feeling very sleuthy on that, huh? Frumpy, sexy baby, huh?
Like I said, if she used Chrome, you can actually get the passwords off of that if she had them saved.
I got some of them off of that, but, she used it for some things. She also had her stuff spread over 3 different devices, so that was fun. And I tell you, Petunia was absolutely no help with this, even though she was always looking over her shoulder when she did it.
I tell you, cats.
Some people have made goodbye videos, and yeah, um, I can see where that could be a good thing for a lot of people. But yes, goodbye videos are always very hard to watch. I'm actually going through that now with one with one friend on YouTube that I know he's struggling with a lot of things with his family. So he's gotten to be very sporadic. That at one point he went over a year without posting anything, and then he came back. But now it's been like 4 to 6 months between him posting anything recently. So it's a little unnerving, never knowing quite sure if that's the last time I'm going to see him.
Are you concerned about cessation of life or something? Or
Yeah, he has some medical conditions, so that's definitely a possibility.
I know this online, this woman in the UK who just finished her chemotherapy on with stage 3 breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And she's an older adult. She has 6 grown children and stuff. But we were just friendly with each other, and she's just very nice, and it just breaks my heart so much.
Yeah.
Because it triggers back to my mom. And she passed really early at 57, and this woman is quite young yet, and it just
Well, Sloth Girl had just turned 58 this summer.
My mom died at 52.
Wow, that sucks.
I found her body.
That really sucks.
Even more.
Yeah. On my father's side of the family, not most, but more than half of the men were dead before the age I am now. Although in most cases that either involved alcohol poisoning or an accident after they'd been drinking. So I've been really aware of the potential for me to become an alcoholic. I can see that I could fall into that quite easily if I'm not careful about it.
I was concerned about that for quite a while myself, though. I've since figured out that it's not in me, fortunately. But my mom was an alcoholic. My grandfather on both sides were alcoholics, so it was a pretty high chance.
Well, I don't have the addictive tendencies, but for me it would be too easy for it to just become a routine habit that I'd start doing without thinking about it.
And that's an addiction as well. It doesn't have to be a chemical thing that clicks on in your head. You use it often enough, and you become addicted in the sense of tolerance and withdrawal.
Well, and that's why I was really afraid of that when I was living in Michigan, that if I didn't get out of that small town, that I was just going to get in the habit of doing that every night.
As at my age now, I look back and I've known so many people who turned into raging alcoholics. It's so tragic, including, I'm afraid, my younger brother is beginning to. And I'm just so glad that decades ago I said no, I just don't want to drink anymore, and experience. For me, it was experiencing the intensity of drunkenness and vertigo and those kinds of things, and I just couldn't stand that, and I didn't want to ever take that danger of experiencing that again. So I just pretty much just don't drink. I do, but it's never more than like 2 drinks at all.
Yeah, I like to sometimes. I usually like to have maybe a glass in the end of the week. I haven't had any in a while because of the lung thing, all the medication and stuff. I've been avoiding all that. Usually, but if I do, I have maybe one, maybe two glasses at most.
Yeah,
Alcohol
I've
destroyed my dad, so I never had it.
Ned really is an ancient fossil himself. That's why we're talking about fossils today.
Yep.
What is your favorite bone, by the way? I think my favorite bone is the femur of a brontosaurus. Who I don't
Good
know their
bone.
official name, but yes, they're like 25 feet long and they weigh about 6 tons or something like that. And I don't know
Yep.
what they weigh or their dimensions, but they're really fucking big.
Actually, for some of the sauropods, the femur can be more than 8 feet long.
God damn.
I would have figured you would have like I think the whales was baculum.
I was thinking that because it would be so much fun to torment Kent Hovind with, but it's fossil day, so unless we find fossilized penis bones, it's not technically eligible.
I'm sure we could find some.
Probably.
You could always
Oh,
talk
yeah.
to the Penis Museum in Norway and see if they have access to any that they'd be happy to sell you.
Well, you get the actual bone that way, I'm sure.
And for those in the chat who may not be aware, yes, there actually is a penis museum in Norway, and they have penises
No,
from everything
Iceland.
from a mouse up to a whale.
It's in Iceland, but yes.
Oh, Iceland, I'm
There's
sorry.
also one in Japan and I think Vietnam. So I may be confused.
Yeah. I would not have believed this was a real thing, except that Jackson Wheat went there for one of his research projects, and definitely a reliable source on things to do with anatomy of various animals.
There is, to be fair, also a vagina museum in I think it's London. I know it's definitely UK, but I think it's London, and it's fairly popular. I understand. They have a website, and you can go see some of their displays. They have a wall of vaginas where they did plaster casts of several hundred women and put them all up, showing that everyone's different and all that interesting stuff.
That would actually be kind of an interesting display to see all those casts,
It is
side by side to see. Yeah.
I mean, they don't give you any close-ups, but you can definitely see what's going on in the pictures that are on there. Now watch, all the chat's going to leave and go look now.
Yeah, I'm not really going to. I see too many cunts on TV. I'm sorry, bad joke.
Oh no, that's perfectly fine. Oh yeah. That's what I did. There was some transphobe one of the original TERFs. Helen Stanaland or something like that is her last name, and she's one of the original TERFs, and she's just a vile woman, and she was harassing Katie Montgomery, I think it was, if I recall, and I jumped on and I just let on her as much as I could in my usual style of mean, nasty, I hate you. She didn't respond, but I bet you I'm blocked. It certainly felt good to tell her what so.
I wonder, would it be a violation of YouTube's terms of service if I did a 3D model of something that kind of looked like a cunt, but only it was like an alien, and it was the invasion of the space cunts. And I made it look like an alien, but it kind of looked like a...
Yeah, I'm not sure how far you could take the likeness before YouTube would censor it.
YouTube has videos of complete gender reassignment surgeries and things. I don't know that they would get too upset at something like you're describing.
Yeah, on the other hand, YouTube will also take down a video for a nipple.
Yeah.
So their policies are just so weird and inconsistent. You can never figure it out.
Yeah, you're right.
Hmm.
Oh, that's what it was about. This Helen person was bitching about somebody being convicted of basic a hate crime on the UK version of X, and the people were bitching about. Yeah, this person is sentenced to prison in UK for what they said, but X never would not delete the post because it didn't meet their criteria of nasty. Which, if you're on X for a bit, you realize that they
Yeah.
only delete you if you're a left winger. They let Reddies say whatever they want.
Yeah.
They wreaked havoc on NAFO Viking. They took away his 14,000 followers, and at one time it was like 30. They eventually restored everything, but fuck, they allowed Nazis to post their bullshit, and then they take it out on him, and he's nothing compared to them. Cool
Well,
dude,
yeah,
NAFO Viking.
that's because Elon supports the Nazis.
Well, it's his own little private mouthpiece, for spewing hate. There's no other way to describe it. He's
Well,
just this.
that's why he bought Twitter in the first place. I'm certain was that he just thought that way he could, control what people said about him.
I don't know. I've been followed by about 1,000 Elon Musks on Twitter.
Yeah, TV Tube. YouTube is sometimes stupid about that. I was in a live stream that got taken down because they saw a nipple and it was a man that was shirtless.
Oh no.
But they saw a nipple and they canceled the stream immediately.
Well, that's the right thing to do. You just don't want those nipples out there. They create crime and pornography and stuff. Yes. Elon specifically came out and said, from here on, the word cis is going to earn you a block. And
Yeah, that is treated as a slur.
yep, and people are being blocked for it. It's like, holy fuck, what's wrong with you, dude?
I have to think that for him, a lot of it is just a reaction because of his daughter transitioning that he can't take it. So
Well, people have inferred that's why he bought on Twitter is because he wanted to get back at his daughter, which of course he misgenders and misnames and
Yeah.
will not change. And so a lot of people on Twitter say, well, I'm never going to call it X until he stops misgendering and dead naming his daughter.
yeah, I started that.
I've even run into people who are on the right who won't call it X.
Well, even when when it comes up and reporters on TV and that, at best they'll say X, formerly known as Twitter, but a lot of them are still going to call it Twitter anyway.
Usually, when I'm doing something more public referring to it, I'll usually refer it to as Twitter X.
I just say
Yeah.
the bird app.
I will not say X at all unless I'm forced to, because I'm describing it for someone.
Yeah, because according to Elon and his believers, whatever a thing was first called, that's the thing it must always be. So X.com properly refers to Elon's initial failed company. What was that,
Yeah.
the landscaping
And
business?
Elon shall be referred to, what the fuck have I done? What the fuck have I spawned? Because that's what his mother said the first time she saw him.
Well, I know he wanted to call PayPal X.
Yep.
And that got thrown out on
What I wonder what his obsession with that is.
I don't know. Some
Well, if you
autistic
put
thing, maybe.
other little lines on the X, it looks like a symbol that he is. Use your
Oh.
imaginations.
I'm sorry. I have no clue what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not following that one either.
And I think that he's calling it X because at some point he wants to add little lines on it to turn it into a swastika.
Ah. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, that's
He's a miserable cunt.
Yes, he is. There's a lot of people who want him deported. Of course, it's not going to happen, but
He did come here illegally. He lied to get here.
oh, he did.
Yes.
How so?
He applied for the wrong visa. At the time, he didn't qualify for the visa that he got.
Ah.
So he was originally an illegal immigrant, huh? According to their wording.
Yep.
Well, so is Trump's first lady, so who cares?
He didn't have enough money to actually qualify for the visa that he did get.
It pisses me off that Melania got in with the.
You can
with
find the info.
What was that, Jay?
I'm pissed that the Melania has gotten in under the Einstein visa. That is reserved for people of extraordinary intelligence in the technical and scientific fields, to get them in as quickly and easily as possible because they're so valuable.
Yeah.
And to bring her in on that, are you kidding me?
Under what pretense?
Yeah, exactly. Somebody mentioned that, and I wrote back, well, that's because she solved Einstein's quantum riddle, and
Huh?
it's an argument in physics about the relationship between quantum physics and standard Newtonian physics and things like that. Einstein was never able to accept the fact that quantum physics are just an extension of regular physics. We just haven't looked close enough yet. He began to accept that towards the end, things like quantum entanglement and that. But he never fully accepted it, never wrote a paper on it or tried to work on it.
I know he wasn't a fan of the implications of quantum physics, like that famous quote about spooky action at a distance, but he also did pretty extensive work. The reason quantum theory advanced so quickly shortly after the acceptance of general relativity is because Einstein himself worked on it.
Then I have misread some things.
Yeah, I wasn't aware
I
of that
think-
either. I know he had a lot of problems with, just accepting that things were working differently on a different level.
He couldn't do the math. He could understand the math. He just couldn't. He just didn't like what the math said. It wasn't orderly. And the big thing is, like, when you try to take relativity and try to mix the black hole with quantum physics, you get infinity's infinity rather than just one infinity. So it really doesn't work at the smallest levels.
Yeah,
So
we need
people
another math
assume
for
that
it.
since relativity didn't work at the smallest levels, Einstein must have been completely ignorant and no, he just didn't understand it. Very few people even come close to understanding it. And if anyone says they fully understand it, they're a woo peddler on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Einstein's Nobel Prize actually was for what's now a foundational principle of quantum physics. He won it for the photoelectric effect, which served as the evidence-based proof that waves, or that light is both a wave and a particle. He basically proved photons exist.
No, that was a
And-
double slit experiment that did that.
No. The photoelectric effect did that.
Double slit. I'll fight you.
I'll fight you too, because the double slit experiment doesn't show what most people think it shows.
It shows
Okay.
it shows graphically a wave or a particle image when you do
That's
the
a
experiment
way
correctly.
to demonstrate the possibility, but it doesn't actually do that, though.
Okay, special show, first Saturday in November. Jenny and Ember are going to debate particle physics.
No, we are not.
Sym-
No.
Symmetry magazine. His evidence came from studies of the photoelectric effect.
Oh, that's bullshit. That's some counterfeit thing that Ember put out there just to bring this
That's
conversation up.
Mwahaha. Yeah, I'm trying to look up the first time the double slit experiment was conducted, but the thing about the double slit experiment is it isn't done with photons, it's done with electrons, because you can't actually use a detector to determine which slit a photon is going through without absorbing the photon. So they have to substitute electrons so they can use a magnetic field to tell which slit the electron goes through. That's what creates the so-called observer effect.
Every demonstration I've ever seen of the double slit experiment, including one by Brian Greene, that's certainly on video somewhere around here, shows using a light source, a photon light source.
Yes, you can demonstrate the interference pattern using a laser or LED or what have you, but you cannot get the particle configuration using light. You have to use electrons for that.
According to Wiki, the first type of experiment for a double slit was conducted by Thomas Young in 1801.
Well, I also wonder if Einstein was having trouble finishing that because it appears that a lot of his earlier work was really co-authored by his wife.
All his work went downhill when he started fucking his cousin.
Then he had to move to Alabama. Where the fuck did he live in the U.S. once he moved here?
I thought New York, but I don't really know.
I think in New York and then Massachusetts.
Rural, not
Connecticut.
city.
I know he had a job at Princeton, which would be New Jersey.
I thought so. That's where Prince lived. Princetown.
Yep, Princeton, New Jersey. He's lived a lot of damn places. Ulm, Bern, Italy, what's now Czechia, I can't pronounce it, Belgium. Obviously,
Well,
Germany.
Einstein's house in Princeton, New Jersey is being preserved as a historical site.
It was the first house that he had a flushable toilet, I believe. That's not true.
Interestingly, do you know when the first Soviet toilet paper factory was built? Finished? It was after Neil Armstrong walked on the moon.
What?
So toilet paper was not mass produced in the Soviet Union until after Neil Armstrong walked on the moon.
Well, that explains vodka.
I still say the Russians would have beat us to the moon if the engineers didn't keep drinking the rocket fuel. The original Soyuz were basically run on low-grade vodka.
Well, alcohol is a very good fuel for a plane. You know, it's just something that burns and an oxidizer. That's all you need. Some of the amateurs have been making their rocket fuel out of old tires, melting them down and packing them into a cylinder, so you end up with basically a solid rocket. And they include an oxidizer, and away
Huh.
they go. Some of them are using sugar. There's lots of things you can
I
use
heard of
as
them using
rocket
Oh,
sugar.
fuel.
yeah,
I never
and
heard of the tires.
one of my favorite fuels to use when I did that was sorbitol. It had the advantage that once you heated it up, it would stay sticky, molten, and pliable and moldable even after it cooled down, so it was easier to mold.
And
And then
you
as
had
far as
the advantage that your rocket would not gain weight.
performance goes, Splenda was incredibly expensive, but it worked the best.
Yeah, well, as far as sticky and burning, yeah, I've got a formula for what I was going to shoot out of my do your own flamethrower. I can teach you how to make a flamethrower out of parts you can buy off the shelf at Home Depot.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of plans on YouTube for that.
Yep.
There's a lot of these militia idiots that have built them and have
Yeah.
them as part of their weaponry.
Well, see, but most of them are just like, have just like a propane fuel tank. So they shoot out flame, but that's it. It's just what comes out of the nozzle. The trick of a real flamethrower is you need it to spew out something solid that sticks to whatever it hits and keeps burning.
Yes, that is called napalm, which is gasoline and naphtha.
Yeah. Well, you can also make it. You can also make it from just using alcohol and gelatin. See, so that was the formula I was using for mine.
You can use gasoline and styrofoam.
Yeah, gasoline definitely melts
I hadn't thought
styrofoam.
of the styrofoam, but that would work.
You're right. We have done that. We've at my shop. We were curious and stuff, and we took a pan of gasoline outside, of course, where it's safe because you don't get anyways, and started dumping packing peanuts in there. And after a while, it just kept absorbing, and eventually it became a very viscous, dangerous liquid. Because we knew because we lit it.
Yeah.
And holy fuck, was it black? We were lucky that nobody called the fire department. We covered it over to extinguish, but that was pretty dangerous. We did a lot of stupid things like that at the shop.
That's pretty dangerous to do.
Uh-huh. Well, we had a big concrete lot, It was just so tempting. We did it right next to the gas pumps,
Oh yeah, it's a great place to do it.
The gas pumps were inoperative and the tanks were empty. We think.
You think that makes it even better?
Yeah. Actually, a gas tank that you think is empty is more dangerous because liquid gasoline doesn't burn. It's the vapors that burn. So if the tank is empty of liquid but still full of vapor, it can still explode.
People do not realize that the combustion ratio for gasoline to take off is 14-1. If you're dealing outside of that, I won't say it's safe because it's not, but because you don't really know at what point in the sky, for example, it's 14-1 and where it's 16-2 or something like that.
Yeah.
But it does, at least when you're putting it through a fuel system in a car, it's got to be a 14-1 ratio.
A controlled measurement of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the 5th time I've gotten that goddamn pop up on Twitter.
And that concentration at the correct 14 point something 2, I think it was, is called lambda, 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 with the Greek symbol. So if a car is at lambda, it is balanced.
I think the lambda symbol is the Hebrew Gamal. So G is L. I'm
yes,
sorry. I just noticed that when I was taking the physics.
yes, Hooligan. Ivory soap flakes were the thing that was done in the 60s with the hippies and all that stuff. And there's no reason I should know that, is there? But I do. I don't ask. But it was a war, we had to protest. We did things.
Yeah, I was too young for that.
I was too, but they still let me in. They needed somebody to go get the water and stuff.
Well, see, when I got a bit older, I found the sources for that. Things like steal this book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that was brilliant for Abby to name it that. I don't know if it got him any
Mr.
sales,
Foley.
but it certainly got it distributed.
Yep.
Mr. Foley was the best high school science teacher. He kept our interest by teaching us recipes on how to fight the Eichmanns. And I'll just let you fill in the let your
Okay.
imagination go wild.
Yeah.
I was a Don Herbert fan. Mr. Wizard. Was it Mr. Wizard?
Patrick Stewart did Mr. Wizard by the time I was watching it.
I can remember Don Herbert's face today. It was such a wonderful show. We thought it was all miraculous stuff. It was, child's play type physics and chemistry and things, but it was so neat. And
I remember Mr. Wizard.
I really liked the modern replacement. Oh God, what was his name? That freaky dude.
Bill Nye.
No. Bill Nye's a mild mannered reporter. Oh fuck, he had that really bizarre hair, and he
Beekman's
talked.
World.
Beekman,
the
yes,
Yeah.
Beekman was the
That's
best.
the one I was trying to think of. Yeah.
He did a guest thing on the what was it Captain Disillusion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Beekman.
Yeah, I used to watch Beekman's World with my daughters.
Beekman. And I love the interaction between him and his sidekicks and stuff. It was just very funny.
Yeah, and the giant rat who was always doing the experiments he told you not to do at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you ever get a chance to see old Beekman's folks, do it. Even as an adult, it's very good stuff.
And it's available on VHS.
And you can probably find it on YouTube.
Probably. Oh.
Oh, this is a good one. Trump trying to argue how dangerous seasonal allergies are for Harris.
Yeah, it was the only thing he could find in her medical report to fault.
Oh, fuck, that man is such an idiot.
Oh, but he's in perfect health.
Well, I'm also pretty sure that Trump has no idea what the words mean.
Probably not.
What
you know, because he was using the actual clinical diagnosis.
Yeah. He was using the allergic rhinitis.
Yeah.
It just means you get the sniffles.
Yeah, it just means you get sniffles and your eyes get all swollen and watery, or your nose gets all.
Yeah, hay fever.
Yeah, it's hay fever.
Yeah, that's one of the problems these days. Ivy, is it's hard to find flash bulbs.
Hold on, Ivy. I don't think we should be given actual formulas for these sorts of things.
Yeah, well, these days, where would you find flash bulbs?
You can still buy them on eBay. Old stock that people have. But nowadays you would need that because all you got to do is get the igniter of a strobe. You can take apart one of those disposable cameras and you can basically get one of those taser things. Not as high voltage as a real taser, but it works as a taser. You can just stick it up by somebody, push it, and zap.
Also,
I
model
probably
rocket
shouldn't share that either.
igniter.
Yeah, well, a taser is basically just two wires connected to a really big capacitor.
Mm-hmm.
All you need to do to start something with an igniter is go to your hobby store and buy some model rocket engines. They come with igniters that go off when you complete a circuit with a 9-volt battery.
But those are just
Oh.
nichrome wire with sulfur on them.
Oh, you can get flash bulbs on Amazon.
Yeah, they still make them, but you don't even need that. You can just make your own flash powder if you want to go even further back in time to the old days when they sprinkled the powder in the flash thing. It's a mixture of magnesium, potassium chlorate, and sulfide.
Well,
Oh boy, that would be fun.
now that we have the
And
formula
if
that
you want to make your own chlorate, what you do is you get something with platinum, and that's your anode. Your cathode will be a titanium rod so that it doesn't deteriorate so much. Run electricity through it. Wait for a week. You got bleach. You put it in the freezer.
maybe we
and
should
whatever
move away. Maybe we
precipitates
should move
out.
away from this conversation.
Yeah, I
considering
was-
we've already had the formula.
We're all
for-
already on a list.
I was pretty serious when I said we shouldn't be quoting formulas out there. That's really bad to do.
Okay, so I should not go into how as a teenager I made my own gunpowder and smoke bombs, huh?
Well, you can say that, but just don't give the formula.
I mean,
That's at
I
least
think
how I would-
everybody knows that gunpowder is made from black powder and saltpeter. And
No,
The hard
not
part
everybody
is
does.
actually making something that burns. That's the hard part.
Yes,
Because
yeah,
you just
hooligan.
mix them together
Yeah,
without
hooligan.
doing special things. It doesn't work.
Yeah, hooligan, you're absolutely correct. And to this day, Kodak gets $1 from every damn digital camera sold.
yep, I did know that, Justin, and it's so fucking funny in the grand scheme of things.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah,
Actually, I think
they
I
had it
heard
first,
it as a rumor,
and they dropped
but
the
I didn't-
ball.
Yeah, I think I heard it as a rumor, but I didn't take it seriously.
Well, they didn't think, first of all, the initial edition had like such a ridiculously low resolution. The sensor was like 8 pixels.
Yeah.
Well, it
And-
was in the very early days. They weren't able to make them quite that big. Kodak
yeah.
did a lot more than most people know.
Yeah, I knew
used,
there-
Oh yeah, shit tons of crazy technology.
I used
but
I
to
knew
own
also-
back in the late 70s there was a lawsuit between Kodak and Polaroid over that, but
No, Kodak and Polaroid lawsuit was over the actual chemistry to the instant film concept. What Kodak did get involved in is that they had a partnership with Nikon on digital cameras, and they built one of the first DSLRs between those two, and it was true ancient technology. They took a basic Nikon FTN body, put a sensor, CMOS sensor of some sort in there, but then for memory they had to have that was all external. And so you had to walk around basically carrying this big ass hard drive, which in those days was like a foot by 1 foot square. And in this huge battery pack to run it all. I used to own one, and it was stolen from me.
Oh, that's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
See here,
Yeah.
the first actual digital still camera was developed by Eastman and Kodak engineer Stephen Sesson in 1975.
They sold because they were so desperate for money, because they buried the digital technology, because they had such a huge investment in traditional film. They went nearly bankrupt. I mean, they still exist. The plant is still in Rochester, but only like 10% of it is still in use. So they ended up selling 1,100 of their patents split up between Apple, Google, and Facebook for $500 million, but they still hold nearly 10,000 other key patents necessary for modern digital technology, digital imaging technology.
They just introduced this very neat little printer that you can carry along. It's no bigger than a digital camera, and it will instantly print your digital pictures in the same kind of squarish format as the old Polaroid battle that they had, or I should say the old Kodak instant film format that they used with against Polaroid.
I'd like to get that.
Yeah, that sounds kind of cool.
They're definitely out there. I would just do a Kodak instant printer and see what you find. Which I know you're made, so you'll do it right now, won't you?
I was just starting to.
Yeah, so there's this thing called zero ink technology, zinc. Canon has been making a big deal out of it, but there are Instax cameras that use it, and there's a bunch of instant printers that can Bluetooth connect with your phone that do the same thing. Sometimes you get it with a camera attached, like with Instax, and sometimes it just prints off your phone camera. So there's a bunch of that kind of options for instant printing.
Oh, see, I see a bunch of. Doesn't look like they're really portable all that much. It looks like more like just kind of a little mini printer. But
This is like really brand new. It might not even be on the market yet. It's that new. I saw it just probably within the last month or so, tops.
Hmm.
oh, wait, there's a camera with a printer. It's 130, 140 bucks.
Not bad.
What's interesting is Polaroid. Also, I believe now this is some presumption on my part. I believe Polaroid ended up having to sell their patent on instant pictures, and that Fuji bought it. Fuji does have instant cameras and film that you can buy nowadays. And that we're just like the old SX70 format kind of things, as opposed to the old peel them off of the early black and white Polaroids. Those are kind of neat. I've always kind of want one of them. If I wanted to buy a film pack for my SX70 to make it run, this is a camera from 1974. I think they're getting something like $60, $75 per pack, which is only 8 shots.
Yeah, I still have one of the old Polaroid cameras, but like you say, trying to find the film for it.
Well, you can. It's online. You can
Oh,
search
yeah.
it and find it.
Yeah, I found it on eBay, but like you say, it was more than $50 a pack, and that was a number of years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really wanted to fire that thing up again, and when I saw the price, I just this is ridiculous.
A kind of cool thing. One of the Lego sets they've released this year is actually to make a model of the Polaroid SX70 camera.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. That was a hell of a camera. People never realized it or even treated it with any seriousness because it was a Polaroid, and the film quality on Polaroid is kind of shitty. But it was a single lens reflex camera, okay, just like a 35 millimeter, and it was a completely stainless body with leather. It had a focusable lens through the lens focusing and metering. You could get a Polaroid strobe with it. You could get various tripod attachments for it, and just all kinds of different attachments.
Okay,
close-up stuff, wide-angle stuff.
I guess I'm thinking of a different model because the one I was thinking of had the, it was a plastic case and a built-in flash.
Yeah, like that one that's on screen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are they came out with those after the SX70 because nobody wanted to pay the $200, $300 a piece for the SX70, which was in '74 a huge price to pay.
Yep. Well, these were very popular, with contractors that they could take pictures of the job site, that they could show to the customers immediately and even start doodling on them to show some of the changes.
But if you ever perforated the envelope of the photograph, it would go away on you. And people didn't know that, and so they didn't like that rectangular shape with this big white chunk on the bottom, so they cut those off.
Yeah.
Bye-bye photograph. It just takes a little time. It'll be gone.
Yep. Yeah, it delaminates a bit and the whole picture just fades off.
Yes, Porpoise, you're absolutely correct. I worked in camera stores for years and years, in high school and just out of high school and stuff, and processing film and all that junk. And Polaroids, you could tell when somebody's got something going. They're either going on vacation or they've got an orgy at home, and they come and buy dozens of packs of film at a time. And dude, boy, that's expensive buying all that. Polaroid says, yeah, well, you wouldn't develop my film. Oh. And it was true. In some states, they would actually, if they found nude stuff on your developed film, they would call the cops and you would get arrested.
Yeah, I think that is one of the things that made the Polaroid so popular.
Demon, yes, I also owned several Hasselblads and almost every lens they ever built. And I had four 120 backs. I had one 70 millimeter back. It was pretty neat. I ended up selling all my Hasselblad stuff so I could get into a digital SLR, and it was the dumbest thing I've ever done. Nothing is better than a Hasselblad. Nothing.
I have no idea what that is. I assume it's a brand.
The medium format camera.
Yeah. Mage, whip out a picture of the Hasselblad 500 CM or EL. The EL is the version that went to the moon.
If you want to make some money, go retrieve the Hasselblads that are still sitting on the moon, because even though the rocket trip could cost you millions of dollars, okay, you won't make that much back from the cameras, but you will get hundreds of thousands for those things.
Oh, you'd get more than that. God, you get hundreds of thousands for a stupid Apple I computer. Hasselblad that sat on the moon.
Being that they sat on the moon, they may have some extra value for that. Yes,
they were such beautiful cameras. At the time in the early 70s when I bought mine, we were told that by Hasselblad representatives at camera shows and stuff, that each one was hand built, and each builder signed off on them. And if a repair happened under warranty, that person had to fix it. Yeah, that's the basic camera. Of course, it had a lens and a film back and stuff, but that basic camera in the 70s was probably around, I can't read those numbers, probably around $500-600 I paid for mine. And in 72, 73, that was ungodly money. That was just a whole shitload.
Yeah. Well, the top one there says it's going for $984.
Oh, is that a auction site?
Looks like it.
There's also a company running around called I'm Back that makes digital backs for old film cameras, and they do make a medium format back. It's not as good as using film and then just scanning it if you want a digital copy, but they're pretty neat, but they're also kind of a pain. But I mean, so people don't really understand, because the normal cameras that you see running around, the Canons and the Nikons and the Sonys and so forth, they're called full frame because they're not a crop sensor like is in your phone, but they're actually small frame. Large frame is those big honkin' mothers like Ansel Adams used to carry around, and those were cool not just because they were freaking 8x12 sheets, but because the larger the sensor, for lack of a better term, the photographic sheet in that case, it changes the focal components, right? You reduce your depth of field ridiculously, but it also changes the effective aperture. Your light gathering capability is vastly changed. Medium format.
On an 8x10, your depth of field is nearly infinite.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. But the medium format cameras, they were more portable than the larges, and they could produce images unlike anything today's standard format cameras could produce, which is why pro photographers love the damn things. Because look at that. It's small enough you can carry it around.
That camera showing right now is the CM with its back end lens, and that sucker weighed in at about 4 pounds.
And this is selling for $2,662 here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the images you can produce with them. I mean, Peter Hurley, who is presently, I believe, the highest paid photographer in the world, swore by them until he absolutely had to change to a modern digital camera, and then Canon bought his ambassadorship or whatever they call their spokespeople.
I've showed that picture of the ship at night that I took.
Yeah.
That was done with the Hasselblad. And the digital is not a good scan, but the original, you can see rivets on the ship, from 100 yards. It was just spectacular.
Yeah, I can't see why people would be using Polaroids these days, when the digital cameras are so available and so cheap.
Hasselblad makes a full digital camera. It has the same basic format as the ones you've seen here now. They're it's modernized and everything.
I'm sorry.
But they'll run you about $50,000.
Oh yeah, there's a few that are up there. There's I can't think of the name of the other brand. Hasselblad got bought by DJI, the drone company. Because they wanted better cameras for their drones, coincidentally. But they are still making digital cameras. But there's another one that's around that same price point, but I cannot think of the name of the damn thing. Fuji, though, also makes, it's technically classified as a medium format, even though it's not a 5x7, or I think it's maybe a 4x6. I can't remember exactly, but it's like 150 megapixels on a single shot. Pretty crazy.
But remember, that means because the sensor is so big, it has to have that many to spread. I don't know the actual pixel size measurement on those. So it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be sharper than a 35. Well, we call it a 35, a standard DSLR.
Yeah.
But in terms of enlargement, that's where you win, because it takes so little to make them big compared to a standard 35. And folks, when I say a standard 35, all the DSL's sensor size is the same as an old 35 millimeter piece of film. And so us old people just refer to it as a 35 because that's what we're used to.
You know what else Fuji makes?
Film.
Vibrators.
Subarus.
Oh, really?
Subaru is a division of Fuji Heavy Industry.
A lot of those freaking Nikon makes excavators, and they make microscopes too, but that's just more imaging technology. But yeah, a lot of these companies have really unexpected corollaries in their conglomerates.
Yeah.
I miss photography so much. That Hasselblad that showed us, you can still get film for that easily, and it's inexpensive, and people still use those cameras because you just cannot beat them. In fact, when digital came out, those of us who were straddling the ages would look at digital and say, "Yeah, that's really nice," and it will take 50 years at this rate for them to equal film. Well, they've mostly equaled film. There's still things that film does that digital can't, but not for the average person. They don't need any of that stuff.
Yes, Nikon has been promoting the flat Earth movement just to sell the P900.
Yeah.
They discontinued it.
Yeah, but now they've got the P1000. So
I think they may have discontinued that too. I think they're done with super zooms.
That camera is a piece of crap. It's autofocus.
The P900?
Yes, it's autofocus. Can't do infinity. That's why all the flat earthers show their picture of this is what space really looks like. This is what Jupiter really looks like.
It can't do infinity with it needs something like 2 lux worth of light, and at maximum zoom you're looking at like one single star or maybe Jupiter, and it's just not bright enough for the autofocus to do its thing. You have to manually focus those,
Yeah. Yeah, so they just show kind of a blur. Okay,
I
what
have
do you mean
I
by
have
a
yet to
bridge
find
camera?
the flat earther who knew how to switch it to manual to do the focus, and so they all come up with this picture of this
Yep.
spot that is twinkling and moving around.
Hmm.
Well, that's of course the interference of the atmosphere on Earth. And if they focus it sharp, they would see a nice sharp image of Jupiter or whatever they're looking at. But they don't. They say, well, see, they're just illuminaries. They're not really planets. All those pictures from NASA are lies. No, you're incompetent.
I
Yeah.
should do.
Well,
I
and
have a P1000 in my closet. I should do a live stream sometime where I show them how to focus and well, to get a proper stacked image with a sensor that small, I'd need hundreds of fucking stills.
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's a way I could like demonstrate it and then produce like a NASA quality image of Saturn, because I know it can be done, but with a camera with a sensor that small.
That
Holy
would be
shit.
an interesting video to do.
Yeah.
I think you
Well,
should.
it would be interesting just to do a video of how to use the P1000 to photograph distant objects.
Oh, it's so fun. I like my B700 better because it actually has a much bigger sensor, and even though it only gets half the zoom of the P1000, but it also they don't bill it on the advertising material, but it has a universal shutter, which means you can take your flash speed all the way up. You can knock out the sun. You can take nighttime shots during the day using a flash because of it's so great. And it sees into the infrared. Like most cameras, if you put an infrared filter on, so it's only letting in infrared light, you have to do a really long exposure. But the B700 doesn't have an infrared filter, so it needs a lot less light through the lens filter in order to take a good exposure. It's got so many fucking pluses to it. It's crazy.
We used to show in high school. We used to shoot football games and stuff like that with infrared film, just because it was so kinky and weird. Color infrared, not black and white. And that was a real kick. We enjoyed doing that. Everybody, it was just technology that nobody understood or knew about back then.
Again, you're way over my head. Any camera that's not just a point and shoot, I wouldn't know how to use it.
Oh, but you can point and shoot with these bridge cameras. That's why they're beautiful. It's basically they're bridge cameras because they're part way between. If you just set it to auto, then all you have to do is set the zoom and point the damn thing, and it'll shoot, and it'll usually produce pretty good images. When you push it to extremes, like trying to get Jupiter on a dark ass night, then it gets a little trickier. But they can usually do pretty good on their own.
Well, that's the difference between the consumer digital camera and DSLR. And I know you know this, Ember, but for the rest of the folks out there, the DSLR it is a digital camera, just like some little bitty Canon or Vivitar or whatever you buy. But you can adjust all the shutter speeds, all the f-stops, and you can have all that control for your depth of field bokeh and various effects that you may want to do with the shutter or the aperture. Yep. And that's just why they're more expensive, because they can do all that stuff. But the P900 and these flat earthers, they absolutely make me insane. I used to teach photography at University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee, and so I kind of know what I'm talking about. And these guys, I can give them a whole semester's worth of lessons and information, and then at the end of the year, just go, nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Fuckers. How stupid can you be? People paid hundreds of dollars for this information. Damn. The course I taught was a adult enrichment course, but it was still a semester long, and if it had been in the actual curriculum, it would have been worth about three credits.
Yeah, bridge cameras. So I used to do theatrical photography because I help out the community theaters in my area every way I can, because the arts are important to me. And the professional photographers, they kept having come in and do photos of like dress rehearsals and whatnot to promote the shows with, were really, really bad at shooting quickly moving people in low light like you get on stage. So I'm like, no. I showed them how to do it with a fucking bridge camera. I'm like, you have to balance the settings. The key is you need the exposure to look right. You don't want blown out people in the spotlight and people dark in the shadows so you can't fucking see them. If you have a little bit of motion blur, that's not as big a problem as not being able to see your cast members.
Although digital sensors do not have the same dynamic latitude that film does.
No, not with those big ass medium format ones. It's pretty close. But
Dynamic latitude, folks, is the range from all black to all white that a single sensor or piece of film can capture with all the detail present.
yeah, I think the current
Oh, geez, I'm sounding like a
Sony
teacher again,
top-end
aren't
one
I?
is
No,
What
but
is it?
that's good. You're actually explaining it to a level I can understand some of these terms now.
Well, that's because I'm stupid. I don't know anything more advanced.
two-
Although we could talk about color printing with dichroic head enlargers and things like that if you like.
Sony A7 IV has a dynamic range of 10 stops.
Oh, that's an improvement.
Yeah. If you switch to video mode and switch to Vlog, which gives you a higher dynamic range, you can get 15 stops. Which is cool. A stop is it's been a little while since I ran through this. I believe one full stop is either double or half the previous.
I never remembered that. I believe it's double. If I switch,
yeah, I just mean it depends on which way you're going.
If I double the length of time of a shutter speed, that means making it slower to expose twice as long, I have to close down one f-stop. So it's pretty much a double relationship. And f11 at about 125th of a second is what would work well in average sunlit exposures outside, which every photographer knew back then.
Okay, so 10 stops translates into it could capture a candle flame without losing it in the darkness, and the sun in the same image without clipping. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but it works out to an object that is 1,024 times as bright. That's how much dynamic range a current sensor can get.
When I got my first digital SLR, I wanted to compare what it was like against film work, and so I went to a high school football game that was at night, and to photograph it at night, and it just could not do it. The sensors weren't as good then in the first generation DSLRs, and it just did not have the sharpness. It wasn't able to capture the right shutter speed or at the right shutter speed to be useful stop action sports stuff. You could crank up the ISO more, which is ASA in old language, but then it started getting all kinds of dots. What do they call that?
The
shit.
The snow, the gray, and the noise.
Yeah.
The noise.
Yeah, and that right there told me that what this digital is shit compared to film. I used to photograph Packer games at night, and stop the action dead. Stop the action where you see the dirt flying in the air.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, that was one of my big issues with the early digitals is even in ideal shooting conditions, plenty of light, still subject, so you don't have to, you can have your ISO at minimum. They were still so fucking grainy. I'm like, why?
Purp is absolutely the digital cameras in film or in phones nowadays are just fucking amazing. And as an old photographer used to Hasselblads, I'm just awe-inspired what they can do.
Well, actually, that's the thing I've had a problem with, especially the phones or any of the digital cameras I've had. that just low light conditions they don't do well with.
I wrote a letter to Apple years ago about their quality of image on their cameras, and I didn't know who was getting it. I addressed it to Steve Jobs. He was alive then. And I knew it was his email address because he responded to me on rare occasions. And I explained to him, dynamics of photography, and that I instruct and all that kind of stuff, and that you need to do this with your thing, and this is your. And within 5 years, they had a number of the things that I recommended. I'm not saying I did that because any person involved in photography would be interested in achieving those things, but it was neat to kind of have the feeling like, oh, maybe I contributed to that.
Hey,
Well,
maybe
yeah.
you did.
I'm
Maybe
sure,
I did.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they consider consumer feedback in these things. So
Well, but Apple also would hire the top professionals in whatever they're doing. So
yeah,
I can't imagine anybody who's a top pro would not think of the things I was talking about in terms of the
never
mirror
know.
sensor and
Yeah,
those
but
sorts of things.
there's also the marketing thing, though, that if a consumer is asking for these things, that makes them realize that these could be selling points they could use, so they should develop them better.
Well, I wrote it to him from the perspective that, look, this is why your cameras aren't as good as your competition.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what I thought would be most stimulating to them.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, that, if they're realizing that, oh, these are the reasons somebody's buying a different brand, so we've got to up our game here.
Oh, Porpoise, what's LLM? I haven't heard that. Low level meter? Low light, low level. Yeah, I've never heard that.
It's one level below a pyramid scheme, because if it was MLM, it'd be a pyramid scheme.
Large language model. Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Is that like raw image level or okay?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one either.
Large language models, I know, are what they're using to teach AI.
Yeah, that's an AI thing.
Okay. Got me. I'm behind the technology. I guarantee that.
Well, I think he's saying about, it giving stupid advice. So I think it's about, the camera trying to decide where the face is in a photograph.
Yeah,
well, shit. Apparently, it is actually an AI language model. It's according to what I'm finding here from technicaldisclosures.org, is utilizing an LLM. A user interaction is made more intuitive as users can communicate with their camera using natural language. You can literally tell your camera what you want it to shoot.
Oh, wow. That's taking it too far.
Yeah, that's wild.
No. So,
go ahead and explain.
Porp, hold off on that. I just have to take a raging piss. I'll be right back.
So I can explain what large language models are.
So it's okay if we say that we want to shoot Trump with a Polaroid.
That would be something that would not be illegal to shoot Trump with, but why?
Well, I used to make that joke with wildlife.
That way?
Technically, though, you could say you want to shoot Trump with a cannon.
Depends on what type of cannon.
If it's a cannon rebel.
Hi, Athena.
I'm too easily amused.
You're purring loudly.
Yeah, I've got Sammy's on my leg.
So while we're waiting,
Sammy's
all right, so yes. For those of you who didn't know, there's a trend of just putting large language models in anything, even if they don't need to be there. Check your Google search.
Well, I think that's what Jenny was asking you to wait for her to get back
I'm
to
back.
explain that.
I'm back.
Okay.
I'm back.
So my camera does not need a large language model built into it or access to it. Companies keep doing it just so they can like say, oh yeah, we're like a tech company. We're putting this in there. It's like, if it doesn't need to be there, don't put it in. It's a useless feature, especially in Google's case, you're giving me something that will give me worse results than I would get from just your search.
Yeah.
Kind of like having a smart screen on a refrigerator.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not,
like
yeah.
why they're trying to put Wi-Fi into every appliance, like why Donna's air conditioner needed Wi-Fi.
Yeah, like I was looking into getting an air purifier for myself, and I found one that had Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of that is data collection purposes, but a Bluetooth connection to a cell phone app that you control in your house, no problem with that. That kind of makes sense. That you control it remotely without having a specialized remote. And you don't need like a very large range, but they don't need to connect to the internet.
Yeah.
Hi, Athena.
That's the thing that gets me, that, it's like everything they sell now, they feel needs to be connected to the internet. And it's like, no, can't I just plug it in and push a couple of buttons to get to work?
My
This thing
toaster
doesn't even need a
My
remote.
toaster does not need internet access.
Do you
Yeah.
know the difference? Do you know how you spot a tech enthusiast and someone who works in tech in like a hardware store or appliance store?
Mm-mm.
The person who works in tech will be the one asking for the dumb refrigerator.
Yeah, I believe that. The Internet of Things is ripe for hacking. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, most of these things I don't think even need a remote. That, I change the settings so seldom that I don't have a problem walking up to it and pressing the buttons.
Well, I also don't have a problem like bringing the clapper back for turning on the lights.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like that air conditioner. It's like, once you set it at the temperature you're comfortable at, odds are the thing's going to go all summer without you ever having to change the settings.
Yeah, a lot of it's just about trying to get your data to sell it.
Yeah.
Ivy, I would bet that Ilford camera is quite valuable today. That's that's complete presumption on my part, but Ilford is a fantastic film manufacturer out of UK, or I think through UK. That's where I always read on the package. That really could be significantly priced.
Well, again, we're also just companies have gotten to the point where they're just saying, "Oh yeah, this is a new buzzword. Let's put it in." Like people were putting blockchain in everything a while ago. Like there was a tea company that just put blockchain in its name to see if it would increase their stock prices.
Did it?
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, I have to step away for a minute.
And it's like a blockchain is a distributed cryptographic ledger. That's all it is. Why would a tea company need that?
That's funny. I enjoy that. I'm going to give you an anecdotal on Wi-Fi junk, and I do not believe in Wi-Fi junk in the home for the most part. But some things make sense. Like my brother and sister-in-law had a garage door opener that would talk to them, and they could open their garage door with the internet and all that kind of stuff. But they would also get an alert anytime the door was opened. And at that time, my sister-in-law's kid was a problematic young man who was doing criminal things and stuff. And he was breaking into the garage and stealing tools. And they caught him because they were able to see on a camera and get an alert on their phone that the garage door was opening. And they got the local gendarme to arrest his ass.
Anyway, at some point today, I have to go out and vote.
Nah, don't worry about it.
Listen, we don't need Forrest Gump getting reelected. Or whatever his name is.
Don't insult Forrest Gump like that.
Yeah, Forrest Gump would be okay. It's JD Vance we got to worry about.
You know, the orange Mussolini version.
Oh no, I know what you're saying.
The Marmalade Mussolini.
I finally looked up exactly what the word marmalade means.
Or dear Trumpenfuhrer.
Marmalade is a jam or jelly that is made out of citrus.
Oh, Twitter's trying to change block again. Twitter really wants to kill itself, doesn't it?
What did
Well,
they change?
Elon does.
What
Twitter
did
wants
they?
to change block so people can still view post. It's like people are just gonna ditch the platform if you do that.
Yeah,
Oh.
if I can't block these assholes, I'm not going to stay on there at all. Not a chance.
Well, I
It's
never
like,
use block anyway, so.
No, it's the only way to make Twitter usable. You know, it's like the whole Lara Croft debate thing that's been happening.
Oh God, boys. They look at this cartoon character on a game, and they complain that she looks like a man. Well,
No.
it doesn't, and no boys are happy unless that she's got a 32 triple H bra. You know,
I will argue the breast size thing. That is a key component to the character.
Sorry, Mage, no, it isn't, because
Yes, it is.
Lara Croft's original size was unrealistic, and she would have, if she stood up, she would have fallen over.
No, large breast was a key component to the character, so I will argue that one. Rest of it,
Her new proportions, which have been around since 2013, are far more realistic.
So what? Big boobs aren't realistic?
they're certainly not practical, and I couldn't imagine a person who if they actually lived and doing what she did, would not go get breast reduction.
That's not a good
Someone
argument
like me
to say big
having a
boobs
G-cup
are
is
realistic.
realistic. Someone with Lara's frame in the original having that size breasts would make her top heavy. This is just physics.
Even small ones unbalance you. And rub up against stuff unexpectedly, and geez, they're so fucking in the way.
Yes, one of the first things a lot of trans women will experience after a certain point is the first time they run into a door.
Sorry, I'm not bending on this one. The big boobs need to stay. I don't mind the rest of the design. I thought the rest of the design wasn't bad.
You're a big boob kind of guy, huh?
I'm all kind of boob kind of guy, so big, small, love them all.
Okay, well, that's fair enough.
I have mixed thoughts. Like, my mother had large boobs. My youngest has kind of large boobs. I'm fine with small boobs. They just need to be big enough that they're clearly there, you know?
Here's the image of the new one.
Yeah, I'm the same thing that
oh, right, that's what I'm doing wrong.
The hormones have only been able to give me an A cup at best. I'd like that to be a bit more.
Are you on progesterone?
No.
Sometimes it's just genetic.
Just on the estradiol. Yeah, and that's true. It's, my mother didn't have particularly large ones either, so.
Demand that they put you on progesterone at least 200 milligrams once a day. And even after you've been out there for a while with this, that it might stimulate some additional. And if your doctor won't do it for you, then go out and on the black market and do it.
All right, I have some pictures of the new Lara Croft that people can put on screen if they want in private. Trying to find the old one for comparison. Give me time.
Well, that argument has bled over to women's groups online and trans women's groups online. And the basic feeling is that men are fucking crazy. Because they if they had boobs, they wouldn't say these stupid things.
Yeah.
All right, now let us
If
start with
you
the
want
original.
big boobs, go get implants.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the things I've run into too, is just in buying women's clothes. You know, that I don't know, like most of the manufacturers do not seem to acknowledge that there are women with anything smaller than a D cup. Just the cut of the dresses on that, just they're just expecting a lot more on top than I have.
I'm a solid B, and I'm perfectly happy with that. You know, if they're not going to because it's been too long now, but if they were to suddenly grow to a C, that'd be okay. But any bigger than that, no, thank you.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want them huge. I mean, a C cup would be ideal, I think.
Mommy was a C cup.
Yeah, one of my cousins actually did have to have a reduction because hers were so large it was causing her constant back pain.
Look at that Barbie waist. That doesn't exist.
That's the original character design.
Well, not quite, but close.
And now she looks like Nick Suter.
No, she doesn't look like an exuder.
Well, that
Although
was
I'm
the
sure
next
he would be
picture that
amused
came
if
up.
Yeah, I got a character sheet I can show you.
One of the people who's gotten involved in this woman, she's not a trans woman, she's a cis woman, but she's a bodybuilder, and she's got
Yeah,
shoulders.
that's the new character.
This is a new character.
Okay.
It's been around since 2013, since they did the reboot.
Yeah,
And
there's
people
there's
complained
nothing wrong with that.
People have complained about the smaller boobs since 2013.
Yep.
Like I said, I don't think this design is that bad. Like I said, I just need these bigger boobs.
Oh
for
God,
the character.
no.
Like,
I mean,
just like
how-
it'd be like you. It's like how they took away a Superman and shorts.
Yeah, she doesn't have enough pelvic
No.
tilt or butt.
I'm sorry. How can you possibly accept this character when her ear canal is that shallow?
What?
Oh yeah, that's right. The ear canal is very shallow. Look, it's a really small ear.
Yep.
You're right.
Or the device is too big.
I'm sorry. That was just the most bullshit thing I could come up with.
Oh,
to pick
okay.
on.
What are those things on the lower left?
Wait, lower. Oh, sorry.
I don't know. Doesn't matter.
They look like key fobs.
That's
Oh,
obviously
yeah.
for the Netflix series that they came out, but
Yeah, there were little.
Now that Perp's back, you know what we failed to do in this show today is we did not discuss any of the actual topic of the days or the aware we are aware of topics of the day.
Yeah, there actually turned out to be a couple of different ones today that I wasn't really aware of here.
We're kind of talking about one now, although the anachronism means something different that we should share.
It was National Bra Day.
listen, it's not just that designers refuse to accept anyone less than a D cup. They refuse to produce shoes that are greater than size 10.
Yeah, have that problem too.
I really miss Payless, but they don't get it's like, well, why didn't you want to order online? Because they're shoes. I don't want to order clothes that I don't know if they'll fit.
Right. Yeah, I don't
back.
want to get any clothes online because the chance of them fitting properly, even the stuff I buy at the store, I've got less than 50-50 chance of it fitting.
I have told you guys a million times to go to Woman Within. They sell shoes. They have another part of their conglomerate that is called Shoes for All. And they have the sizes you need.
Yes.
And their fit is consistent. And so when you buy one size in one style, it's going to be the same as the next style that has that same size.
Yes, but I am on a thrift store budget.
They have fairly low price things as well as more expensive things.
Torrid usually sells a different range of items too, including shoes.
Yeah, Torrid has good stuff too.
Yeah, China. It's not just China. Women's clothing is inconsistently sized, and that is one of the irritating things about transition.
Yeah,
Again, their clothing follows the same rule that if you figure out your size for one item, it's going to be consistent across the board.
yeah,
But we're
no,
not
but
talking about
yeah,
the company.
with
We're
different
talking about
brands though. Yeah, I have things that are labeled everything from a size 6 to a size 14 that all fit me the same.
Well, okay, I guess my experience means nothing to you guys because I went through the exact same thing you're going through now, and this is how it was resolved. And I've been very happy with them for
No.
about 15 years now.
Yes.
No.
And I'm not putting down what you're saying. I'm just saying that, when I've been shopping, this is the stuff I've been finding.
Yeah, and there are reliable companies. It's just in general, if you have to like shop between different companies, which most of us do, the sizes are
Yep.
not consistent.
Yes, that is correct. That is absolutely correct, and that's why I stick with one company for virtually everything unless I have to.
Yep. And their
And
doorknob head is providing a link for it for us.
again, I don't want to do online shopping for clothes for an obvious reason.
Well, like I say, that's most of my stuff is what I find at the thrift store. So
Unless I'm like going for something ultra specific, like the binary string number stress I have.
Well, the trick to it is you got to be willing to, whoever you go with, you got to be willing to take the time to return an item if it's not right.
yeah,
And that's how you find out what your consistent size is with one given seller.
yeah.
Online returns are still a royal pain in the posterior.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, they are.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why I don't like buying clothes online.
Also,
Now, one of the nice
online
things about
returns.
Women Within, for returns, when they send you your stuff, they have a call tag for a return. You put it in a whatever box or whatever you're going to do it, and you call UPS, and they come and get it.
Yep. Yeah, online returns also have created a tremendous disposal problem because generally anything that's returned, they don't bother trying to resell. It just gets dumped.
Well, it gets sent to people who need clothing.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It gets sent to what's become the world's largest landfill. I forget which country that's in.
Really?
Amazon does something interesting with their returns.
Oh, yeah.
And they actually just sell them to places that just do nothing but buy Amazon returns and sell bins of the product.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen that people just buy pallets from Amazon and then break them down to resell stuff on eBay.
There's a store in town that does that. It's like the first day after the pallets come back, it's like $7 for every item. Next day it's $6, then it's $5, 4, 3, 2. Then it closes until the next pallet shipment comes in.
I can see how you can make a good business at that.
And I know people who go there to find like cheap electronics, like Raspberry Pis or.
Yeah.
There's another place I wish was up here. I think it's Atlanta, because it's an airport hub, where they sell all the shit that they get out of lost suitcases and stuff.
Yeah, the unclaimed baggage.
Yeah. And it's just stuff I've seen in news stories and stuff that's there. It's like fucking A.
Yeah, my aunt used to do that. That she was bidding on stuff, that the airlines had confiscated and that. So yeah, at one time she got this huge case that was just like scissors and nail clippers and all the stuff that they told people they couldn't have in their carry-on baggage. Oh, bye, doorknob head.
See ya, Deke.
And now we have Heathen Granny coming in. Hello.
Heathen Granny looking good today. I think Ember vaporized.
Well, Ember's mic is showing as muted, so assuming that she had something else she needed to do now.
Looking at it.
Yeah, while I'm sitting here, let's check my oxygen and heart rate and see this. Looks like my
Yeah,
heart
how are
rate.
you doing?
Looks like my heart rate's fluctuating between 86 and 78, and my oxygen's remaining pretty stable at 97. That's pretty good.
Well, at least your oxygen's staying up there good.
Yeah.
It's all normal.
Yeah, you're within the normal ranges. Yeah, this is part of the problem. Especially the polyester in the clothing is just another type of plastic, so it does not break down.
Even stuff that's supposed to be 100% cotton and will often have just a little bit of polyester in it.
Yeah, well, I noticed that most of the honest brands will actually say that it will say like 98% cotton, because
There-
of course there are some things like the elastic and the waist and that aren't.
Yeah, I've gotten shirts that say 100% cotton, and I might actually look at the label on the shirt. It's like 98%, 95%, something like that.
They should
Yeah,
just
well-
they should name that stuff correctly and call it anti-Levitican law cloth.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a point too, that even just the dyes can be all sorts of synthetic chemicals.
Okay.
So there's never no way to tell really what kind of stuff they used for dyeing the fabric in the first place.
Although
No.
if you're sloppy enough in your life and doing things, you can end up with clothes that are all natural, dyes and stuff. You spill lunch too many times, and
I wish Indiana would go to mail-in voting so we can get rid of a lot of the Republicans here.
Yeah.
Indiana wants me. Lord, I can't go back there.
Why would Indiana want you? The only good thing about Indiana, other than the redneck engineering around here, which is hilarious, is that if you got rid of Ohio, my trip back to Pennsylvania would be 2 hours shorter, 3 hours shorter.
I'm assuming Jenny is saying if Indiana wants her, it has to do with a poster in the state police office.
That's right.
What did you do? Steal the corn?
Indiana is one of the few places I have not been arrested in. So.
Oh, so you have not do crime in Indiana yet?
No, it's Indiana. I dare not. They're pretty mean down there.
What states are they nice when you do crime?
Well, Alabama really doesn't look anything past their city limits, and so you can get away with anything in the rural. I've never
Washington,
been
D.C., they're really nice to you as long as you have a title like congressman.
I've never been to Alabama, so just so we know, I'm just making shit up.
Damn it, I need another Sharpie.
What? More
Why, you need to
hurricanes?
control the path of a hurricane? Okay, we made it. We're going to
Well,
make this
I'm trying to get my 2 tuxedo cats ready for Halloween, and I've gone through 3 black Sharpies already trying to fill in the white spots.
Let's see. I believe I've passed through Alabama once.
I flew over
once,
Alabama.
yeah.
I flew over Alabama once, and I timed it so that's when I would take a dump.
Oh, come on. I'm sure Alabama has pretty mountainous terrain.
Yes. Okay, Yahooligan, yes. You have definitely missed out on, one of the milestones to maturity. At some point in your teens or 20s, you should have gotten arrested.
No, don't.
Hooligan, if you're a slight in stature, you may not want to ever get arrested. It's just not a part of life you want to experience.
I've had people tell me, it's like, we're all going to go to jail at some point. It's like, there are a lot of people who have never been in jail. But then I realized, I'm going to keep my mouth shut and not say anything because
I will never let them take me back. I can't.
This person thinks what they're saying is true.
Uh-oh.
It was, I don't know. There are sometimes when you just know you're the smartest person in the room,
Yeah.
which is usually a good reason to switch rooms, but
We have fire warnings. Thank you, California.
What, like wildfire warnings around you?
Yeah, there's we've had such an extended period of such dry weather, everything is ready to burst into flames.
Ha.
And I can't believe I see idiots who smoke tossing shit out the window. It's like,
Yeah.
are you fucking stupid? Yes, they are.
I didn't realize that your area had been that dry. You know,
Yep.
we're not that far away, and we haven't run into that this year.
Oh, they apparently they also take into account winds.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the winds definitely are a big component for how fast the fire could spread if something got started.
Mm-hmm.
I still think there are things, even in Canada, you can do that will net you more severe jail time. It's not like you can just leave the prison if you promise to be back by the time they take roll call.
Well, you know, there are actually some programs that do that. That
Ivy,
let the people out of jail to work their job and come back in the evening.
I am always the smartest person in the room. As long as I keep the door closed and the cockroaches don't get in.
Well, I would still be the smartest person in the room, even if the cat is here.
Nope, cats are people too.
Cats can be persons.
Athena would not like you to insult her that way.
Well, in a legal sense, cats are people, so that they get covered.
Athena thinks that I am a really bad cat.
Yes. Yeah, generally that's your cats identify you as being a very large cat and usually think that you're incompetent because you can't do normal cat things.
Whereas a dog thinks you're a really good dog.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I got Molly here.
Yep. I've got Sammy up here. Sammy is still trying to make up for extra cuddle time for the fact that I spent one night away from home.
Ivy, yes, we know you're an anime character. You are absolute 100% clearly made just for sex. I mean, it's obvious.
I always thought Ivy looked a bit young to think of her that way.
Well, I think she's 21, so I'm sticking with that story.
Okay, I was putting her closer to the Lily category.
Well, nah, it's older than that. The Giga it uses is the same model for your wife who doesn't love you, which is a funny video, by the way.
Somebody started using this. You know, it's real popular, of course, we know, to use anime for avatars. You started using this one that all my life. Okay, I'll preface this. All my life, ever since Bugs Bunny, and I became very attracted to Bugs Bunny, not sexually, of course, it's a rabbit, but in terms of cross-dressing and stuff. I've always been amazed at how can cartoon characters affect people's emotions so much. I've always found that to be very curious. And they affect me too. I'm not trying to be superior or anything. But anyway, somebody started using this anime girl for their avatar. Yeah. And it's just the cutest fucking thing you've ever seen in your life. It's just, How can this is a cartoon? How can this do this to somebody? You know, it's like the beginning part of the movie Up. That it plays for like what 5-7 minutes, and it had me absolutely bawling my eyes out.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
that Up thing was very emotional.
Mm-hmm. And if you haven't seen it, go see it. You can, I believe, you can see it in clips on YouTube. And if you don't cry, you have no heart.
They could have ended the whole movie right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then it wouldn't have been the same movie.
I was just watching a thing yesterday that was focusing on Up, just discussing anime villains.
But Up is not anime.
Or
No,
not
not
anime, animated.
I watched it because Ed Asner was the character or the voice, and I was just an Ed Asner fan.
Oh, great. Looks like I can. Okay.
Oh, I agree. I love Ed Asner.
You got spunk.
But how can you not love Doug?
Yeah.
Because he's just a kid, and I'm not into kids.
Doug is the dog.
Oh, I thought it was the kid.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
you
No,
were thinking of something else.
Russell was the Boy Scout.
Well, Doug is good. I mean, Doug was very responsive to Squirrel.
Yeah.
That's the mark of any good dog.
That's how Molly is. She's got squirrel brain.
Do you have speakers or just headphones?
Me?
Yeah.
I have headphones on right now, but I do have speakers, but they're not very great. They're kind of going on me.
Oh, if you had speakers on, I was going to yell, Molly, Squirrel.
No, I don't have my speakers on. I have my headphones on.
Well, at least Molly has squirrel brain. I am convinced that Ethan has koala brain.
Okay.
Ethan is cuddly and adorable and silly and a complete idiot. He literally cannot find his treats if I put them 6 inches in front of him. I put the treats down 6 inches in front of him, and I actually have to pick him up and put him on top of the treats, or he will not find them.
Well, cats are incredibly nearsighted, so.
Yeah, but you would think that he would, follow the smell or something. They're just not that far away.
Unless it's that bug on the other side of the window, 3 houses down, then they can see it perfectly.
Cats.
I would like to bring up our last partial topic, or it should be in their topic, and that would be it is National Learn a New Word Day.
Oh, is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Do you have a word of the day for us?
I certainly do. And not only is it the word of the day, it's a foreign language. Some of you may have heard it, but you may not know how to spell it. We're going to spell here too.
If it's a word with more than 3 letters, I probably don't know how to spell it.
Get out. I told you. Well, you weren't there at the beginning. Get out your pens, your pens, pencils, and paper, and write this down.
Oh, great! We're having a quiz now.
No, it's just an instructional lesson, so you can put it in your wallet and check it once in a while, and be comfortable with it. Okay. Now, since this is a word of the day kind of thing, we're going to start out with A, since this is the first time we're doing this. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay. And like I said, some of you may have heard this, but we'll get into the details you may not know. Word of the day is Arschloch. Arschloch. Noun.
Sounds German.
Indeed. It is spelled ARSCHLOCH. O-C-H. Arschloch. And it means, are you ready? Write this down. Asshole.
German has so many better words, like Kummerspeck.
Ivy, you forgot the S. A-R-S-C-H-L-O-C-H.
Schadenfreude. Backpfeifengeschichte.
Yeah.
What's Plummerspeck?
The literal translation is grief bacon. It's weight you gain from overeating when you're sad.
Oh, I like that one.
We all know what Schadenfreude is because there's an Avenue Q song about it. We also probably felt it when we heard Donald Trump got shot in the ear, whether we should have or not.
You see, but you're doing like 3-syllable words. I'm trying to keep this simple for our third graders out there.
But Backpfeifengeschichte is a fun one. It means a face in need of a fist.
What
was
is
that
it
one?
again?
Backpfeifengeschichte.
Backpfeifengeschichte?
Backpfeifengeschichte.
Could you
Don't ask
spell
me to
it?
spell it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fist in the face. I'll just go to Google Translate and figure that one out.
Face. You know, You've
Okay,
heard the
so-
expression a very punchable face.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Backpfeifengeschichte.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see the application for that one. You know, just this is someone who needs a fist in the face.
Like any Nazi and J.D. Vance.
Didn't you just contradict yourself?
No, he's a Nazi.
Yeah, like any
No.
Nazi and JD Vance.
No, that's not a contradiction. It's redundant, but
Yeah, it's redundancy.
Anyway,
So did everybody get good out there with the word of the day? Do we need to repeat it or spell it again or anything?
Arschloch.
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 Noun. German. Asshole.
All right, well, I am going to go do my civic duty if I can. If you have early voting and no mail-in voting, go check to see if it's out. Please, please vote for anyone who is not Donald Trump.
And
You
And
might not
pay
want to
up
vote for. You might not want to vote for Jill Stein. She has been backed by David Duke.
yeah, I was gonna say pay a little attention to the down ballot people. You know, to try to find out if you've got elections for judges or even like county commissioners or school board. Try to find out who the people are that they're not trying to, like get religion shoved into the public schools, not the people supporting the Bibles being used in every classroom type thing.
Well, it's a bit harder in Indiana because they try to make the school board elections non-political, which is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
Mhm.
It's like school
Actually,
board.
they do that a lot with school board elections, that they're not supposed to have party affiliates.
Yeah, but they do.
Yeah.
All right, be excellent to each other, everyone, and so long, and thanks for all the fish.
Bye-bye.
See ya, perp or perp. Okay, see ya, perp too. See ya, porpoise. I get you guys confused all the time now.
Do I have to leave now?
No, you don't. You don't. No, Ivy, you keep screwing up the spelling here. Arschloch. Those Germans like lots of letters for sh. Next week we'll try something out of my Latin library. Perfect.
Arschloch. We are looking at how to pronounce this word and more vocabulary that is useful from German. Stay tuned.
That is wonderful. Where's that from?
Mage, was that just a YouTube channel, or where'd you pull that from?
We don't hear you, Mage.
Yeah, is your
Oh no, this is a random YouTube channel.
okay. That would be a cool feature. We could do that. Every week do a word of the day thing like that.
I was kind of thinking of planning on that.
Yeah.
Next week's word of the week will not be Führer, because it's just a terrible thing to have to say these days. Der Führer, DERFU with an umlaut, RHER. Oh, I'm sorry, HRER. Oh, almost blew that.
So Ass Lake.
Oh, Arschloch.
Yeah. Der Drumpf. No. Yeah.
Well, that's technically the Drumpf.
Yep. Well, that's who his father was when he came here.
Yeah. It's amazing how much like his mother he looked, particularly the hair.
They're drum. Yeah. Maybe that's what we should start calling him again. Trump.
Well, I did like the fact that in the UK, Trump is kind of a nasty slang for fart.
Oh, that's pleasant.
Yeah, I thought that was very appropriate.
Especially nowadays when he seems to become so good at it.
Yep.
God, I heard a comedian.
Your character, Ivy. Yeah.
I heard a comedian do a bit on farts. It was just so goddamn funny. I will never underestimate the power of a fart joke. It seems that people love fart jokes.
Yeah, it's low comedy, but it's always easy to get a laugh with.
I read something once that said they have found Roman inscription like graffiti on the Colosseum that they believe was written back in those days, and for them it represented the first joke that they've ever seen written, and it was a fart joke.
Yeah, I had heard about that, but they also said that it was the first example of graffiti that they have found, or the oldest example of graffiti.
That's reassuring in some way. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that somebody just went and wrote a fart joke on a public building.
Mm-hmm. It's the universal haha. We all do it.
Yep. Well, and it's what George Carlin said, that anything we all do and nobody talks about is funny.
Yeah, I'll buy that. Yeah. Like masturbation.
Yeah, well, that's why bathroom humor always gets a laugh. Because you go and you close yourself in this tiny room and you don't tell anybody what you do in there.
Pee pee poo poo. I love how kids deal with bathroom humor. They're they somehow in their head they know it's bad, but they always have this guilty pleasure laugh that goes on. The kids are the best Schadenfreude people in the world. I just love it. They know they're bad, but they're having a great time doing it.
Yeah, there's always that little giggle because they know that it's something they're not supposed to laugh at, but you can't help it.
I read this little narrative once of a man describing his child when his child discovered lying. I forget what age the kid was, but they could communicate.
Mhm.
And the father and son did something together that mom wouldn't necessarily approve of, and dad says to the kid, "Let's not tell mom." And he said that it says that the kid was all excited and kind of like, ooh, ooh, just kind of like kids get, and said, we can lie to her. And the kid knew what the word it was and what it meant. He says, we can lie to her. And of course, dad said, yes, that's what it is.
So teaching your kid it's okay to lie to the parents, that could set a very dangerous precedent.
Yeah, but every kid learns it.
Oh yeah.
Heathen, are you still a kid? It's good to know that.
Yep. I don't know if I'm still a kid, but I just know that, I'll never be old.
Well,
Old is always defined as 5 years more than my current age. So I'm never going to reach it. It's mathematically impossible for me to be old.
yeah, you are a kid.
Oh yeah, you're younger than most of the kids I raised.
That's one of my favorite things on TikTok is when these kids, like, the other day we had a kid call, and of course he didn't think he was a kid, but he was 19,
Mm-hmm.
and he decided that I needed a lecture on why trans people should not be allowed in the women's restroom.
Ah.
And I had to explain to him that, you say you're 19 years old, that means you've been alive for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And you haven't finished your education. You have no experience. You have no actual book learned knowledge about this subject. And here you are telling somebody who's been using that bathroom for twice as long or 3 times as long as you've been alive.
Yeah.
And you think you should tell me what to do, punk? Kid shut down. Just shut down completely. It was great.
Okay. Ivy says Ned stopped at 15, and yeah, I guess that explains why Ivy seems to be a teenager.
But she's so cute.
Yeah.
Hey, Major, are we going to do zombies tomorrow night?
Yes.
All right. Should we invite the chat?
No, I'll be putting the links out in DM in groups and on my Discord.
Okay. So if you're not part of Major's Discord, please get on there and come enjoy zombies with us.
Yep. Cute anime zombies.
Yeah, cute anime zombies.
See, where were we? I believe we were up to episode 5 of the second season of Zombieland Saga. Yes.
I wasn't sure if we had watched 3 or 4 episodes of the second season yet.
Yeah, that's what we're up to in episode 5.
Yep. Oh, Ember's back.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
We had wondered what happened to you.
No, everything in the universe broke all at the same time.
Are you going to come
As
watch zombies?
usually happens.
Are you going to come watch zombies with us tomorrow night?
It's one of my favorite episodes and has my favorite song of the season.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
No, I've got transpositions tomorrow night, and I may have an interview before that.
Well, this is midnight, so.
Oh shit! Oh well, I'll be in bed.
Yeah. This is 11 p.m. Central.
Oof. Yeah, I'm usually in bed or I try to get to bed by 8 or 9 because I have to be at work at 3 a.m.
The title,
Now, see, there
Ivy,
you go.
is the title is Zombieland Saga.
And we're on the second season, which is actually has a slightly different title: Zombieland Saga Revenge.
Revenge. Oh
Now,
goodness.
now, see, Ember, you have to be careful because you're sounding like a responsible adult here.
As if. Excuse me while I take my antihistamines.
Chat, that's funny because, of course, we know antihistamines is a drug,
Yeah.
and cis is, of course, a non-trans
Yes.
person, and I believe what Ember is referring to consuming is an HRT component.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct. Ivy Chan.
Yep,
That's
yep.
the second. That's the second season. It's the first season is just Zombieland Saga.
Yeah, they changed my tablets. I still have to do the sublinguals, and they're these tiny little blue fuckers now. They used to be big honkin' white things.
Ah,
Those look about the size of nitroglycerin.
yep. I gotta stab myself tonight.
Well, I've been happy. I've only needed to use my inhaler one time today.
I think
Well,
we should
yeah,
start.
that's definitely showing us significant improvement for you.
I think we should start Mage on HRT. Don't you, Perp?
No, come on. We don't go pushing it on anyone who doesn't ask for it.
So I just got off of a steroid.
Yeah, and you can't really crack an egg. If you crack an egg, it's going to die. You have to wait for it to hatch in its own time.
Oh.
So I am kind of wondering what I should do with this half a bottle of hydrocodone.
Send it up to me.
And yeah, I think we'll have a bidding war on this one.
What dosage? 5s, 10s, 20s?
What is the dosage on this thing anyway?
5, 325, 10, 325.
I can't find my. There it is. What's that doing there? Let's see here. What does it say? Actually, oh, there's 1.5 milligram SOL.
1.5 milligram?
5/1.5 milligram.
Sorry, say that again, please.
5/1.5 milligram SOL. That's what it says on the label. Hydrocodone.
Hydrocodone is usually written as the hydrocodone dose versus the acetaminophen that it's mixed with.
So you take
And
5
a standard.
milliliters by mouth every 4 hours.
Oh, you have liquid. Okay.
Yeah, it's a liquid.
Okay, never mind.
Okay, I like this antibiotics. I like that one
Yes,
too.
that's a good one too.
Antibiotics.
It's cherry flavored too.
Well, that's important.
I don't think I need it anymore. So, and I was kind of hesitant to take too much of it at the time because it's a opioid and all that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it is one of the few things that will actually put me to sleep. So.
Oh yeah, definitely did that.
Yeah.
You can return that to any pharmacy and they will dispose of it properly.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that.
Do not mail it to anybody. Do not.
No.
Yeah, that's what I had to do with all of Slothgirl's leftover medications. That the pharmacy has a lockbox that you have to deposit them in.
Okay,
Ooh, it's going back in the 70s tomorrow.
Really? So we all have to wear, tie-dye?
Bell bottoms!
My dose, Mage, is a 5 milligram, 325 acetaminophen, which is a very low dose of hydrocodone. Hydrocodone. And I only do 2 of those a day, but it takes enough pain away out of my back and things that I can actually sleep.
Yeah, I don't have anything serious enough to get prescription painkiller. I just have to deal with just acetaminophen for mine.
Yeah, I was coughing so badly with this, even with this stuff. I was actually starting to throw up some of the hydrocodone talk.
Yeah,
Ew.
that can be a problem when but then you're not getting the dosage of the medicine that you're supposed to.
Well, why couldn't you puke into a cup or something and just drink it then?
No. I mean, the coughing was getting that bad. Though. I couldn't even
There,
fully control it with the.
there was a story I heard from a Catholic hospital about that. That they gave somebody, the communion rites because the person was bedbound, couldn't get to church, so the priest came in and gave it to them in the hospital room, and the person after after taking communion, they vomited, and one of the nurses, was so upset about the idea that was the Holy Eucharist, and it was lying on the floor that she ate the vomit off the floor.
Oh, come
Oh,
on. No. Jeez.
Yeah, well, from a Catholic nun, this is what you get when they've been indoctrinated all their life that, this is literally transposed into the flesh of God.
Okay. I'm okay. I can take this. It's okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I have my ballot here. The one thing that I need to get somebody else to sign mine as a witness before I can drop it off. And yeah, I'm not even going to mail it in. I'll take it to the where the county
yeah.
offices are.
That's what I'm gonna do with mine.
Hey,
That's the reason why I haven't gotten to it yet.
Perp, I wanted to ask you a question. Up where you live there, are there any actual pot dispensaries?
I know of at least one. That's that there's one here that even before the recreational use was granted, that they were filling the prescriptions for medical marijuana.
Uh-huh. Would you know their name? And if so, could you send that to me? I would like to look them up on the web and see if they can sell any online and UPS it to me. I figure it would
Yeah,
stay. I'll stay in state, so it's legal anywhere in the state. That should be okay, I think.
yeah, possibly. Yeah, they couldn't use the U.S. mail, but maybe from a private carrier.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah, I don't know the name offhand, but I drive by it every time I go to the store, so I'll try to catch it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's actually right in front of the Walmart here.
I can't believe that. I mean, it's been legal since August, September, October, wow, 3 months, man, and there's no dispensaries anywhere in this corner of the state. Nowhere.
Yeah. Well, like I say, that's what Michigan did. That they technically made it legal, but it took between when they legalized it for recreational use and when they actually issued a license for the first dispensary to open in the state was like 4 years.
Yeah, well, that's that. The law took effect here, and it was like 6 months until it actually happened on August 1st.
Yep. Well, that's normal. Most laws there's a period of time between when the governor signs it and when they actually go into effect, and that's usually just to give companies time to prepare.
I would also like to buy some seeds because I'm allowed to grow two plants.
2 plants just seems like an absurd limit.
That's plenty for a single person.
Yeah.
You can get probably at least a half a pound out of a good sized plant.
Okay, I guess the plant produces a lot more than I was aware of.
Pot can get 8 to 15 feet tall.
Well,
It can
yeah,
get
I know that. I know that they could get as high as corn stalks. We had one that was 3 or 4 feet tall, growing next to our house when I was growing up. Because my father was such a great gardener that, he had enriched the soil to the point that anything that hit it would grow. And my sister was kept tapping out her pipe on her outside windowsill. So apparently a pot seed fell out of the pipe, and there was a plant there that was more than 3 feet tall before my father realized what it was.
Heath and Granny are absolutely correct on that.
Yeah, Project 2025 is so scary in so many ways.
Yep.
Just everybody's going to be screwed. And people need to focus more on that comment Trump made that if you just vote this year, you'll never have to vote again.
Mm-hmm.
Because, that is the Republican plan, that if they can enact Project 2025, we will never have elections again.
It's like his other claim. Oh, we're not going to tax overtime. Well, that's because Project 2025 says it's going to end overtime. Can't tax what you don't got,
Yeah. Yeah, and that's even in Trump's first term in office.
Uh-oh.
He rolled back so many of the workers' rights that we got, that the unions had fought for in the 60s and 70s.
Ember has died and turned into a. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you freeze dried or something.
Oh no, I still
Not quite
detect
yet.
movement there.
No, I'm just multitasking as per usual.
That's what I want when I pass. I would like somebody to have me freeze dried, and positioned so that I can sit on a park bench, and for the kids to say hi to, and the pigeons to come and hang out with, and squirrels and stuff. I think that'd be nice.
Well, the reason that they have never, that they haven't taxidermied humans is because when they do taxidermy, they're actually stretching the skin, over a form. So they can do it with animals because they can do a deer or a bear, but they haven't been able to do it to the point of, having specific facial features.
Well,
So
they
with
have to.
humans, it always would have looked distorted. But I wonder about that now, though. That if they could, scan you while you're alive to take all the laser precise measurements, so that then after you die, they could have like a laser guided carving tool, carve out the form for your head with all the precise measurements, if that would work.
Well, there's an easier way to do that. You can use 3D imaging, which you can do with a single camera and a specialized gimbal, or you can use specialized equipment and just do a all-around scan, basically, and then just import that into a 3D printer.
There you go. You probably know about this, Ember. There's software you can buy for your phone now that will allow you to do a 3D scan with your phone.
That doesn't surprise me. We were doing it the hard way just a couple of years ago. The fact there's software for it now makes sense.
Yeah.
I gotta go wee again. I'm sorry.
This little piggy cried wee all the way home.
Don't call Jenny a piggy. That's just impolite.
Okay, but you realize that was the lucky piggy because he got to go home.
That's true.
The one that went to market wasn't going shopping.
Add an effect, and this thing will be.
Yep. Yeah, and what was? Yeah, the purge thing. Now, the problem with Purge generally is that all the rich people are going to be, like really well protected. But if
Would
technically
they though?
well, that's what I was going to say. If technically anything is legal, and considering some of these people, have military grade weapons,
Because,
would
like,
it
I
be,
know they can hire security and shit,
yeah,
but if the security can legally kill their bosses, then maybe they would.
that was one of the things I thought of is that, yeah, maybe you could bribe the security forces. Well, or would you even really need to bribe them so much as saying that, you're going to be in the mansion protecting this guy? And if he were to die while you were in his mansion and crime is legal, there is nothing to stop you from leaving with everything you can carry. But I was also thinking about the idea, like, if one of them had like a really, kind of fortified home, there technically wouldn't be anything illegal then about launching missiles at it that night.
Okay,
So
imagine
yeah,
this scenario. Purple, Ember, Mage.
yeah,
You are Secret Service
How many?
agents. You are Secret Service agents. You are protecting the new president, who happens to be a very obese man with orange skin, and he has a heart attack, and you have to resuscitate him. Who's going to do the breathing part?
no, sorry.
Nope. Nope.
Oh, Mage, I guess you're it.
Oh, I might go make sure my shoes are tied.
I actually, through his first term, I would not have been surprised if one of his own security guards had bumped him off and they covered the whole thing up. I thought that was a completely plausible scenario to happen. Because you could see that some of the guys who were assigned to protect him did not like that assignment at all.
Well, they won't have to do it long, because as soon as if he were to win, as soon as he gets into office, I would bet within a week that J.D. Vance will invoke the 25th Amendment, and they will take him out of office because he's fucking nuts, and everybody knows it,
Yep.
and install J.D. Vance, who is Heritage Foundation's #1 guy. They put
Yeah,
him in there.
I was
That's a
thinking of that too,
possibility.
that if he got reelected, would they have any use for him anymore, or would they just need him out of the way?
It's not. It's likely. Everybody who knows anything about this situation is absolutely in agreement that that's what's going to happen.
Talking about
Okay,
that,
and this is why you are not supposed to copulate with equines.
Ooh,
this
God,
is
is that creepy?
apparently this is somebody using this is actual zebra taxidermy, but they altered the face to make it look human.
Oh, that is just way bizarre.
And they have another one here.
Oh man,
Okay, so they anthropomorphized all the animals they shot.
that's really disturbing.
Well, I imagine these probably died of natural causes. This is a
There's
cougar.
nothing natural about that. Or were these the genetic experiments that said, please kill me?
Well, now, how did they get that person from that blue planet?
Oh, you mean the Avatar movies?
Yeah. This is really upsetting. I could never go look at this. This is.
Yeah, no, those are very
Oh no, I don't
disturbing.
want to watch. I
amazing
really
thing
don't.
about-
I really don't want to watch
Okay.
that. That's.
Yeah, those were very disturbing images.
Ew. What are you taking? Heathen Spiro or that finesse or whatever it is?
Yeah, I'm on the estradiol. What's the other term for it? The Desin something.
Tubi, and I call my HRT boob food or girl juice because I take injectable.
Yeah, apparently I'm not giving my boobs enough, but oh, and I get to meet a new doctor at the end of the month for that.
Heathen, may I ask what dosage of Spiral you take? You don't have to answer if you don't want. I'm just being nosy.
Yep. At the end of the month, I get to meet yet another new doctor. So I've been on HRT for about 3.5 years, and I'm on to my sixth doctor for it.
100 milligrams. I asked because I'm on Spiral, but not for HRT purposes. I'm on it because I'm a cardiac patient,
Mm.
and my cardiologist prescribed it. And I'm taking like 25 milligrams. I think. I just wanted to compare.
Excuse me. They took me off the Spiral because I was supposed to be prepping for surgery, but now we got to go through all that again because they were never able to schedule my surgery.
Well, get on that, huh?
I'm working on it. Oh,
I would like to be able to say I'll come up and help take care of you post-op, but I have no way to get there.
yeah, no, that's okay. I mean, as far as post-op goes, I can. The Slothgirl's son has still said, that he wants to come and stay from time to time. So when I know when the surgery is, I can have him come and stay with me for a week after surgery.
Oh, okay, okay.
I just need to make enough space in here so there's somewhere for him to sleep.
Just hang a hammock.
I hadn't thought of that, and he might actually go for that plan.
Oh my God, Trump is calling himself the father of in vitro fertilization.
Oh,
Good
jeez.
God, what is wrong with this fucker? Makes the claim before an all-woman audience in Georgia. Well, then that didn't go over well, did it?
Yeah, unfortunately, he's gonna. Basically, they're gonna go down the list. They're starting with the trans people, but then they'll go to the gays. They'll eventually get to the women. They'll just go down the list and tick off one minority after another.
It's the plan. Don't forget, a lot of the rhetoric they're using against us is literally cut and pasted from the rhetoric they used against integration. It's African Americans are by no means very far down on the hit list.
Yep.
One state has already introduced legislation to end interracial marriage.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's what people don't realize is that with all these Republican-driven states, a lot of what they've been passing are portions of Project 2025.
Yeah.
More cut and paste bullshit.
Who's Liam Payne?
I feel like I should know that name, but I don't.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
the
see.
name sounds familiar. He must be running for office somewhere.
No, he's a singer performer from One Direction. Fell from a third-floor hotel room.
Oh, wow.
Yeesh.
Wait a minute. Isn't that the Russian thing that they fell out a window?
Yeah, but this doesn't look like a Russian thing.
How'd they end up falling out of?
Well, that's kind of the question.
Yeah, usually hotel windows don't open.
Only 31. Oh man, how tragic.
I take it he didn't survive.
Third floor? No, you're not gonna walk away from that.
Actually, that it does depend what you fall on. You could survive a third floor fall if you land on something somewhat soft.
If you're a cat, you can survive any kind of fall that's above 60 feet, weirdly enough.
In that distance, you should be at terminal velocity when you hit. That's
No, I don't think you reach terminal velocity from the third floor. I think you need to be a bit higher up from that.
Oh yeah, died.
if you go out of a third floor building, even if you don't hit terminal velocity, you're going to be hitting it at least 60 miles an hour. Nothing survives that. Your skull cannot survive that. It breaks at around 10 miles an hour.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's no fun. According to the Googles, you need about 450 meters, or
Really?
roughly a quarter of a mile to reach terminal velocity.
Huh,
But it'll
that's
only take you
interesting.
12 seconds to do because you're accelerating the whole time.
Yeah. 32
I was
feet
thinking-
per second.
I was thinking landing feet first on something that might break the fall a little bit might allow him to survive, but in a lot of pain. But
Then your
critical
then your
condition.
then your femurs are going to be up through your ears.
There are skydivers who have
Yeah.
survived a parachute not opening.
I had a friend that did that. He Roman candled in. And
Yeah,
walked away.
actually, I just did a quick search and it basically comes back that from a third floor fall, you have almost a 50-50 chance of survival.
Really?
Yep.
That's shocking. I don't think we should have let that happen. If you jump,
yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, he didn't survive. Is it Liam Payne?
Well,
When I
I'm
work-
sure there was much pain involved, yes.
When I worked on the psych unit, we had a patient who went out on pass, who never should have been allowed on pass, and everybody knew it. And took the leap off a 12th floor. Went to
Yeah.
a hotel downtown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
It was really sad. She was a really nice person. It was just so sad. Her whole thing was she was depressed because of social rejection. She was, I hate to say it, but it happens. She was just.
yeah, no, I can
She
understand that.
She was very, very ugly. Okay, to
Yep.
put it in the nicest term I can, and misshapen and all that kind of stuff. But she was
Yeah.
just so smart and so pleasant. But her whole life was just absolute rejection from everybody she ever met.
Yeah, I
You know?
was, before you even said that, I was thinking it was some kind of physical deformity that people just had a negative reaction to.
She made it to 24.
Seems he was in Argentina at the time when this happened.
Oh. Okay, they probably don't have as many safety codes on the buildings as the US does.
Well, that's sad. This just shouldn't happen.
No. No, unfortunately, people can be cruel to total strangers if they just feel they look funny.
Oh, and he had a son too. He was trying to be a better dad, according to this article.
Mm. Yeah, well, the worst I've taken was falling off the roof of a 2-story house.
See, you just said that, and my whole body jumped internally. You get that when you get that frightening moment, and you can feel it like electricity through your body. Just you saying that did that to me. I am so bothered by heights.
Oh, well, like I said, I've fallen off a roof about a dozen times, and I've never once broken a bone. At least not from a fall like that. But then again, I was raised by cats, so maybe I learned something about falling. Yeah, the worst one I had was because that time in New York, I only fell about 15 feet, but I fell onto the asphalt parking lot, and one of my legs was still hooked through the ladder, so the ladder came down on top of me, and I fell with my shins right across one of the concrete stops. So that was the one that I could barely walk for several days, but still no broken bones. And that was the one where you realize how old school I was, because it's like, I knew I had to get somewhere safe because I was out there working alone. It was a weekend, all the businesses around there were closed. So I somehow got myself in the car and drove to my friend's before it even occurred to me that the whole time I'd had a phone in my pocket and I could have called my friend to come and get me. That just didn't occur to me as being an option.
So you took a whack it to the head, huh?
No, I'm just not used to having a phone with me. Just for the first half of my life, the first, close to 40 years, that just wasn't a thing we had. I mean, I got a pager when I was like 35. That was like the new technology then.
Never had a pager. I just never thought myself important enough to have one.
The only reason I had a pager was because I had kids. So it was, if their school needed to contact me while I was on a job site. Since I didn't have an office or anything, and I never knew, each day of the week where I'd be working. So I had it just in case one of the kids had an emergency at school.
Purdy. There's an original year Mustang on the TV. Orange in color. It's very pretty.
Which kind of orange? A bright orange or a dark orange?
A bright orange.
I like the darker one. I'm not sure, there's no standardization for color names. Every company calls them something different, but it's one I refer to as burnt pumpkin.
You would probably call this true orange if you saw it.
Yeah, like the citrus fruit.
Yeah.
You don't like fake oranges. Those styrofoam ones, they always piss me off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they make good napalm.
I've heard that rumor, yes. Well, folks, I've got to run. I gotta grab a bite and.
Okay, you want to plug your channel before you go?
So many channels. Most immediately, there's a new interview with Alana McLaughlin coming up on Transparency Talk in a few minutes. It's the main reason I got to run. I have to eat something before that starts. And I'll drop the link for that in case anybody wants to join me.
Maybe we should wrap this up because I'm going to start losing my light pretty soon for walking Molly, and I'd like to go and get myself a burger.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's wrap this up here, and then everybody can hop over there and watch Ember's interview.
Grab me one, Mage, and which show are you doing tonight, right now?
Transparency Talk. It's a pre-recorded premiere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Yep.
I'll leave you to the wrapping up stuff because I really got to grab a bite before this starts. So, toodles, folks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Be trans, do crime, don't get caught.
Yay!
Yeah. Jenny, you were supposed to save that for the end after Mage does his sign-off thing and all.
Oh, okay, I'll make something else up.
Okay. Yep, so Mage.
Well, like I said, we'll be doing Zombieland Saga. tomorrow night at midnight at Eastern Standard Time. I'll put the links out for on Discord and the DMs for anyone who wants to join. Still taking a break from my video making. I might make a video on where I've been and what's been going on my gardening channel, seeing as my garden is pretty much completely wiped out right now.
Yeah, you're cleaning up from the hurricanes.
Yeah, and everything's kind of overrun and everything since I haven't been able to
Yeah,
take
just
care of
glad
anything
that
for a
your house
month.
came through it without significant damage.
Yeah, unfortunately, my friend didn't get the same treatment. They got a big hole in their roof.
Oh. Well, I'm just glad that, you and your animals are safe and you still have a place to live.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing what the wind did to all the leaves on the plants.
Yeah, I know it must be really disheartening with your
Was it-
garden because you put so much work into that all summer long.
What does it do? Just rip the leaves off or shred them?
It's I'm not even they didn't rip it off, but it's like I'm not really sure how to describe it. But everything's dead. All the leaves are dead.
Huh.
Mm.
Interesting.
It's almost like they got smushed.
Yeah, so just more like the impact damage from the wind, I think.
Mm.
But what type of trees?
All sorts. The whole neighborhood is just you look around the whole neighborhood. All the leaves are just dead.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know about hurricanes. I don't know what would have caused that kind of effect.
Yeah, I've never really seen it before. But then again, I don't usually get it at 80+ mile per hour winds, and for an extended period of time.
Yeah, I've seen, entire, mature trees that were, 30, 40 feet tall, completely pulled up by the roots from a tornado. Okay, well, I don't have anything going on except being back here again same time next week. So, I guess that's it. And thank you all for everybody for coming. And of course, we need to thank our sponsors here. Kitty, Robert X, Greg Hartwick, Southern Cell, and Skitzcrasher. So, we appreciate everybody for coming. And we will see you all same time next week.
Be gay, do crime, don't get caught.
Bye-bye.